Loop, we should be live. Hello everybody, how are we doing? Welcome back to another Rook Club. We are going over Luck in the Gardens, and I'm so graciously joined with Lisa, Lucas, Emily, and DeCaster. How are you all doing?
Hello.
Still taking notes, but I'm doing well.
I am doing pretty well.
Fantastic. What did you all? Did any of you read the latest article we got regarding the PC spotlight on the Bioware blog this afternoon?
Oh no.
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I have not.
Same. I skimmed through it, but I hadn't really had time to properly read it yet.
Yeah, I'm the same. I had a good look through it and saw a bunch of new a few UI images. I was like, ooh. The main thing for me was this image on Twitter where it looked like what's he called? Varric wasn't dead. But then actually you look at the image, I'll get it for chat, and I thought it was Varric in the lighthouse, but it's not. It's Varric in the cut bit of content from the gameplay preview when they go to Solas's hideout. And I was like, no! So that means Varric could still die, which I'm blaming Lisa for.
What? Excuse you.
Lisa is a massive diehard for Varric to die. She really wants to see it.
No! I want him to live. I just don't think he's gonna.
No, Lisa wants to die.
Look at that.
It's a really good shot of a female Rook as well, who looks amazing. I think as a Grey Warden, but as a warrior, sword and shield. And I think we're going to get that gameplay snippet or reveal this week too. So really, really cool and exciting to see. Hasn't dropped yet, I don't think. So I reckon it'll probably be tomorrow or Friday. That'd be really cool. But yeah, it means that there's still fear that Varric could die in the intro. I don't think it'll be the intro. I reckon it'll be later on. But that is just me. Yeah, I just think it would be a bit too silly to introduce a character so pivotal for new fans and then kill him off straight away. But well, they did it with Duncan, I suppose. But at least I think we had a bit longer with Duncan. But we'll see. I don't want him to die. And then this actual article, I need to read it properly myself, to be honest. I skimmed through it, but the TLDR is the UI looks really good. A lot of performance stuff, talking about like what are the PS5 controllers called? The DualSense controllers. They've done a lot of testing for that to make sure that the haptic support is in place. Transitioning between keyboard and mouse while in menus between controller. Different ways you can play, customizing different buttons. Means you can use your Rook Rogue differently with a different set of keybinds than you would your Warrior Rook, for example. And then just a nice shot of Balara there. It really makes you want a photo mode when you see images like this. So please, Bioware, confirm that. There was at one point where we all thought there was, but it wasn't actually legit. Yeah, different graphical settings. There's a video here that you can't. Well, it's age restricted, which is the Nvidia trailer that we saw the other day. Steam Deck supported, UI stuff. For all good stuff, but very very detailed, very nerdy if you're into that stuff. I personally am not. I'll be playing the game on my 5-year-old laptop. What's everybody else doing? Is everybody else playing it on their massive brand new PCs or getting a console? Lucas,
brand new PC for me.
Yeah, new PC.
I'm gonna upgrade mine. So yeah, also basically brand new PC.
Hell yeah. Oh,
but luckily, someone in the server, I sent them my my specs because I bought this computer 5 years ago.
Yeah.
For Dragon Age 4, hoping that it would be coming out within a year's time, because by then you'd think, right? No, 4 years later, and then now I'm thinking, great, am I going to have to buy another one? But no, it seems the only drawback, I guess, is the core. Otherwise, it's fine, because I want to run this thing on Ultra. There's no other point of playing it if I can't have it on Ultra. I don't know if I'm just spoiled now or whatever, but yeah, so it seems...
No, you're not the only one. I'm doing it as well for that reason.
Well, luckily
it
the
should be
specs
okay.
required aren't that heavy.
It's true. You could
it's
play
alright.
If you had a high-end PC for Inquisition, this can run it really well. The minimum is a 970, which is a 10-year-old graphical thing. What do you call it?
Yeah, but anything under RTX is just peasantry.
Well, I mean, I had hope because, like I said, it plays. Oh, go ahead.
I would just, I have an AMD processor, but Nvidia graphics card, so I mean, they did show off RTX and shit, so makes sense.
What are you gonna say, Emily?
Oh, I was just gonna say it plays. I run Baldur's Gate 3 on the highest settings,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, I can hear it. It's huffing and puffing. It's working. I mean, she's getting a workout, but I mean, she hasn't shown any lag. So, I mean, I'm assuming hesitantly hopeful. That's what I'm feeling.
I'm in the same boat as you. I got this laptop in 2020 for for Dragon Age 4. And now I'm like, do I buy one in time? I don't know. I do have 2 consoles though. More for like YouTube content creation. I would like to get a new one, but I bought this for Dragon Age 4, and now I'm like, do I need to get a new one? Probably not. We'll see. We'll consider it. But yeah. What about you, DeCaster? Are you playing on console? Playing on PC?
I am a console girly. I'll
Hell
be playing
yeah.
it on PS5.
Yeah, hell yeah. Has anybody pre-ordered the game yet, or the collector's edition, or the separate collector's edition that you don't get the game in, which I do have an issue with? Like, come on, like, yeah, you get this separate pack where you don't actually get the game in, then you pre-order it, and you're like, oh, brilliant, thanks for that.
Yeah, that's a decision I do not understand.
It's like you're gonna pre-order the game, and if you got it physically, I know people don't buy the games physically; they get it digitally, but. Like, imagine getting 2 separate packages on 2 different days. So you get the game one day, and then you get your collector's edition the other day because of mailing issues or whatever, especially when you're buying it from a different country, like quite a lot of us. That, to me, just sounds ridiculous, and I can just see that absolutely happening.
Doesn't one of them come with a steel book? Which makes even
Does
sense
it?
that it doesn't come with the
Does
game.
it? Does it really?
The Varentium pack also does not include the game.
Oh, flipping heck.
Yeah. And it's a bit weird because that one's only available at certain retailers, and I don't think it's. I think it's only in a few countries in the EU, and apart from that, I think it's only in the US and Canada.
Yeah,
But like
sure.
that's only, you can't order that online. There was like a big question mark on how to order it and where to order it, and you have to ask your local retailer. So
Flipping heck.
that's nice. I mean, I saw, I don't know if it's like a complete list, but I saw a list a while back, like a few days ago, of countries where you can supposedly buy it in, and the Netherlands was not on it, so
Oh,
I wasn't
no!
surprised, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was only like the Nordic countries, so like it was
Oh, no.
Sweden, Norway, and yeah.
Can I twist the dagger even further into you, Lisa, today?
The what?
Can I twist the
Why?
dagger? Because
Why?
Villainous Kitty said if Varric dies, I'm blaming Lisa. She jinxed it.
Guys, come on. That's so, you guys are so mean.
No,
Lisa,
we're in a joke, Lisa. We're in a joke, Lisa.
You know what? I'm
Lisa,
gonna
I'm
double
on your
down.
side.
Oh
Okay,
no!
good. Yeah,
No,
actually,
he's definitely dead.
Oh,
He's
no.
dead.
let's double down. Yes, he's gonna die.
I'm just saying, they're setting it up. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, why is he not in
gonna
any of the other
happen.
trailers?
It's just Lisa's fault.
Yes, I personally called Bayer and told them, listen, guys,
Yeah,
Barrick's gotta go.
yeah, she did.
He's done.
She
You
did.
gotta go.
She did. She wrote the plot. Like, she gave Mary Kirby a journal of why she hates Varric so much. And Mary Kirby went, you know what? I was going to do this plot arc where he was going to be romanceable and you were going to see his chest hair in full.
Okay,
But because of Lisa, no.
hold on. I don't want to get cancelled, Jack.
No.
down.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
I know.
You deny us Barrick's chest hair.
I'm so sorry.
How could you?
Because it makes for a more interesting plot.
You know, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Thanks.
I just want the tragedy of it, to be honest.
Exactly.
Pain
We play
only.
Bayer again.
Pain
We
and
want
suffering.
tragedy.
Endless
Yeah.
pain. Endless suffering.
Yes,
The pain.
fill my belly up with
it's
that
not-
tragedy.
Well, the pain's not being able to romance him. That's the tease. You see the chest hair, you don't get
That's
the full
true.
thing. That's the pain, the endless torture of so close
But if he
so far.
dies, it's even more pain. Don't you want that?
Not really.
Say this.
Oh. Are you sure?
Yeah. He's not in any
I
Tevinter Nights
just want
stories, is he? He's mentioned, but he's not in them.
Yes.
What are you going to say, Emily?
I was gonna say, I want the feeling of no one is safe. Like you
Yes.
just don't know about
Yeah.
anyone. No one has plot armor. I mean, obviously Rook does, but they have to. Well, I mean, I guess not. You can just lose the game.
That's
Yeah.
that's a feature of
But-
the game. You can't trust yourself. At one point in the story, your character is just gonna betray yourself, and that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
die at some point, you can just go to the main menu and just close the game and never start it again. It's an option.
Just delete your save.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hardcore mode.
Rook's journey ended there. Varric is safe. He's our narrator. Ooh, villainous kitty. Ooh, what if he narrates you from the fade? No, that doesn't make sense. He's a dwarf. Yeah, it's true.
If he dies, doesn't his soul pass through the veil?
Yeah. What if we put
Right?
it passes through the veil and the more Tartassi put it into a skeleton? There you go.
What if he's Manfred?
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
I thought when dwarves die, doesn't their soul go back to the stone or something?
think
Did I make that up?
counts for like dwarves that live under the surface.
I
Oh.
believe, if I remember correctly, it was they returned their bodies to the stone in order to make the
okay.
stone stronger.
Question is,
Yeah,
do
something
dwarves
like
have
that.
souls?
Well,
Do
Ooh.
dwarves
Yeah.
have souls?
that's a good question. It's actually a very good question. Villainous Kitty says, if Varric dies, then what's the point in suing Thedas?
Oh.
I mean, yeah,
Truth.
good point.
Anyway, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to be going through Look in the Gardens in Tevinter Nights, the next story, which is set in Minrathis, the capital city of Tevinter, where we are going to be exploring a lot of in the Veilguard. And this is I really enjoyed the story, actually, when it came out. This is one of my favourites. I know I said that about every single one, but genuinely, I enjoyed the monster hunt of this one, the witchery vibes. Although, upon, like, in hindsight now, as we've been reflecting on it, it's very hard to, like, understand who's speaking at which points. It can be a bit of a mess sometimes, so apologies if this comes across as a bit messy. We're going to figure this out, but I'm sure we'll be having fun along the way. So we have Lisa as Holix, the main character, and then we have DeCasta as Missy, another Lord of Fortune, and then we have Emily as a particular, I won't spoil, female magister of the Imperium, and then we have Lucas as another particular male magister of the Imperium, and a few other surprises along the way that we'll see how they will play out as we embark on this. But yeah, we're gonna jump in right now. So get a drink, a beverage, or a snack. I recommend some squashies, Yorkshire tea, and some baked beans on toast. Cover yourself in baked beans. Do whatever you want. And let us jump
You
into.
filthy pervert.
Lucas, you love baked beans.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't bathe myself in them.
Yeah, you would.
Not at their price point.
It's a good moisturizer.
You would know.
Yeah, I would. Tetley tea, not I'm actually from where Tetley tea's from.
Let's see.
Tetley anyway.
Laughs in British.
Yeah. Gotta be Yorkshire. Yes, it does. Gotta be Yorkshire tea. Anyway. So, Look in the Gardens by Sylvia Fekitakuti. Sylvia has done Down Among the Dead Men, a lot of the more Tartassian lore, and she has worked on Emmerich, as well as I think she wrote Blackwall and Josephine. I don't know, she didn't write Blackwall, but I believe she wrote Josephine in Inquisition. So, yeah, love Sylvia's work. A squishy is a drumstick, but it's like a squishy instead of like a drumstick lollipop. It's lovely. Recommend.
What?
Oh, I'll send a picture of
Sounds
it.
like a dog toy.
Sure.
I'll send a picture of it just for you guys, and I'll short chat before we begin. They are lovely. DeCasta, do you like squishies?
I do. I once in the Discord compared myself to them because I don't tan. And when I went to Mexico,
yes.
do you remember?
Yeah.
My shins don't tan, so I had really white, pale shins, but then my feet and my thighs were red, and I looked like a drumstick for 2 weeks.
That's the best comparison people make when you're like, oh yeah, you're like a squishy when you tan. This is a squishy, and there you go. There's the squishies.
Oh, those things.
Yeah, they're so
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
It's like milk
Yeah,
and raspberry, and it sounds really gross, but they're lovely.
That actually sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah,
They kind of look like erasers.
yeah they do.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
Yeah, squishies. Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, given English or British snacks and food, they might actually be erasers. But
Can you imagine? Just eating erase or rubbers. Are you guys talking about
Tasty.
squishies? Yeah, we're talking about squishies. Anyway, enough snack time. If you've got your drink and your beverages and your squishies, let us commence into Look in the Gardens. Squash, not squish. I'd like you to say it. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Quashies.
Squashies, squishies. I say everything wrong, so I'm unbridled in that. Cool. Look in the Gardens by Sylvia Fekete. Let us go. I've been called many things. A liar, a nav, a scoundrel, even a hero, once or twice. I don't like being called lucky, though. That comes and goes, and it's best not to be superstitious about it.
I think that's one of the random characters.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh ho, a lot of fortune, shunning luck. Very funny, you wits. Luck is twisting things to your own good, or noticing when they go well. Aren't we lucky to be here this evening? To sit by a fire, with a barrel of beer rolled out of the cellar an hour ago, and a circle of what I might call the best drinking companions I've had for some time here in Darismud. I say Darismud. 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 Darismud.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'll start again. What I might call the best drinking companions I've had for some time here in Darismud. Ones I might add who are very kind to so patiently listen to me begin this humble story. Because for all I've just complained about, maybe luck was with me in Manrathus. I'm not sure how I survived this city otherwise. Have another round with me, for I'll need to ease into the remembering. Manrathus, oldest and most astounding and most vile place I've ever made coin in. Give me the fresh coasts of Ravane over any city, and Ferelden's strapping lads over any kind. But you have to be impressed by Manrathus. Its towers. Their titanic buildings block out the sun. Some even float in the air, kept there by ancient crackling magic. From the incense-spewing temples to the stink of the slave markets to the dragons carved across each inch of stone, history bleeds from the rock. Its crowds are like nothing you've ever seen either. A sweating, shouting, arguing, laughing river of people sloshing through the streets. And let me tell you, every Tevinter noble's breeding goes out the window when the palanquins stopped behind a broken ox cart or dance troupe. Dance troupe in Manrathus? Dance troupe? Probably like a fighting thing, right? Not like a dance thing. Some of those swears sounded like they came from the dawn of the Imperium. Now beware of who you steal from in Tevinter, and not just because they somehow found a way to make prison crueler than in Starkhaven or Olay. You slip a purse from the wrong belt, and it can be a hapless bodyguard or a cringing maid who gets blamed. For everyone their nose slaves are shifty. For everyone their knows slaves are shifty. For everyone there knows slaves are shifty. Maybe it doesn't bother you, but a lot of fortunes Maybe it doesn't bother you, but a lot of fortunes got to have some standards that sets them apart from common glory seekers, and that's one for me. Therefore, it was the great pleasure I spotted a man wearing the vestments of a slaver, clearly alone, yelling at a pair of livesome dancing girls to move out of his way. After a tumble and cringing apologies, "Watch yourself, man! Pardon, sir, pardon," I slipped away with a pouch of coin he had no right to anyway. I'd been given a tip on where to find information for a job in the city. I made my preparations and changed. I fancy myself decent at disguises, and I know my way around a cut of clothes. Makeup and wigs I learned on a stage in Ferelden, and an elven squire taught me posture, and how to curl a voice high or low. So she said I had an uncanny vocal range, although she had beat me on accents. To this day I can't match her knack for imitating a free marcher's brogue. Through this tale people call me Sir and Madame, but I've always just thought of myself as myself, and had great fun in the bargain. Well, of course, I can also disguise myself as some of the other peoples. There are things the mind focuses on first, you see. We recognise dwarves by their width as well as their stature. Elves are slim, but it's their eyes and ears we recall. Humans have the most variety in the shoulders, and all anyone sees about Qunari are height and horns. That Qunari is spelt wrong, isn't it? Look at that, it's Qunari.
Qunari.
Qunari. What's going on there, eh? Interesting that even a fictional word that they've created themselves they can't spell right. I'm not I am criticizing, but like even a fictional word that they've come up with. Yeah, interesting. What was that? Yes, you're right. Enough boasting about my craft now. Back to the story. I waited at an inn that stank of the fish being gutted on the dock until the moon topped the towers of the Archon's palace. Then I made for a tall, skinny building like hundreds of others around the docks. As I slipped along the paths by the canals, the low fog curled around the water. There were splashes, not unusual, but combined with the way the fog moved, it bothered me after a while. It was as if there was something stirring up the mist. I wasn't that fast enough to see. It didn't help at some point I thought I'd heard a sigh, coming out of some dark grate by the canal. I told myself it was nerves, just some fish looking for a way back to the sea, when I came across a splash of blood caking one slopping brick wall. I stared dumbly. The blood, still wet, was sprayed far up the brickwork. It could have been a gutted fish flopping around, or the remains of some fellow in a bad way. Looking back now, I'm not sure that's all it was, but at the time I pressed on. If I'd known what was going to happen, if I'd been able to read that omen, there's a good chance I'd have run to the dock to throw myself on the first boat out of the city. Ooh. When I eventually got to the tall building that was my target, the door was forbiddingly barred. So I crawled through an unlatched painted window 3 stories above. Sorry, no, ropes. Only pythons. 5 years in Master Ignaldo's fabulous circus of Ravane will cure you of a fear of heights, one way or another. I love his name, Magister Ignaldo's and his fabulous circus. I want to go to it. I'd like to see this, please. Anyhow, what looked like a salt-encrusted clapboard building from the outside was just as dull inside. For the first 2 floors, someone had converted the third into golden-pillared luxury. Velvet couches and silk-covered lounges sat arranged like they were awaiting a party. Marble side tables held goblets and pitchers and crystal bowls. An enormous table of solid oak, polished and glossed to a sheen, had been hauled up 3 flights by some unlucky sods. The last extravagance was dozens of globes of coloured glass strung from the ceiling that clicked as I brushed them on my way down. A cabinet full of bottles was a fraction less full after my inspection, but only a fraction. I had to stay sharp. I retreated into the rafter ledge, where I could see and not be seen. After an hour, some elves, dressed like paid servants, not slaves, to my surprise, arrived to fill the bowls with fruit and the pitchers with wine. For light, they chimed metal sticks against those glass globes, which began to glow. Oh, that sort of magic is everywhere in Manrathis. What they consider mere conveniences would delight and amuse us barbarians. The servants left, and soon after their masters swept into the palace. Not all of the finest dressed mages were magisters of the Imperial Senate. Some were only breathtakingly wealthy. They sat down, so I assume it's they sat down, but I'll try and read it as the sat down. They sat down at the table, and a servant brought out a pack of cards, and the camaraderie began. "It's your turn, Manius. Come on, man. Take your drubbing. I think he's saving that for the sighing pearl this evening." There was a raucous laughter, and Manius threw down a hand that was decent, but not enough to beat the table. Another round began. I was pleased my informant's word was good. This was a secret game of wicked grace for the slumming elect. Mages who'd discreetly set up a club in the last place anyone would look for them. As the mages bet on piles of coin that would make a miser weep, the group was jovial and chatty as a flock of birds, and snippy as Orlesian dowagers. Is this still me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. I don't know how you say this one. Okay. Xanthin, work on the latest treaties a bit slow lately? You've hardly a tan this summer. Whatever you think. Whatever you think, Palitra. It's going perfectly. I hear Otho's having trouble with his nephew again. One has to admire the lengths he's gone to hide it. It's rather touching. Speaking of family, a cousin of mine just came from Barantium. Did you hear what happened to Forfix the Wigmaker? Yeah, Lucanus killed him. My back and neck grew... Sorry. My back and neck grew stiff as I waited for hours until the boozy conversation circled around to what interested me. Still me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Will you let me know when it's not me?
Next page.
Okay. Did you see those flyers plastered on the door? I can't believe they've increased the asking price for that monster, or demon, or whatever it is. Did Elrana put up that reward for its body? She's been buying all sorts of creatures lately. One of the colleges must be footing the bill. Some new exotica for the senior enchanters to brag about at the Archon's next ball. Still, 500 arum? Still, 500 arum? Whatever. The beast must have... Aurum? Still, 500 aurum? The beast must have killed someone important to increase the price accordingly. It hadn't, as far as I knew. A few hours' careful work with a quill and some blotting paper had produced a passable forgery of the notices plastered around, or all around the dockside. I had inflated the price in order to grab attention, and passed the false flyer on this building and the surrounding streets. My hope was it'd catch these well-connected mages' interest and steer their conversation towards what they knew about the monster. Well pleased it had actually worked, I risked crawling out a bit farther, so as not to miss anything. Well, let's hope someone catches it before the grisly thing starts picking its victims from higher in the city. Perhaps the Templars could prove their worth, the Chantry's levies, and hunt the damn thing down. I bet you this monster is a common demon let in by some lazy oaf. No shortage of them in the towers, oafs or demons. I heard it's something to do with the Venatori. That felled them. Every mage looked up from their cups or cards and turned to a skinny man with a top knot. His expression puckered. Don't look at me... Yeah, still
yeah.
Me? Yeah. Don't look at me like that. The man threw down his hands of cards. I quit them ages ago.
Come now, Castilius.
A mage with a curled moustache and trim beard smiled at him.
We all know you didn't go south with the cult to fight the Inquisition. You wouldn't be here if you had.
Exactly. Castilius looked relieved. I only attended a few meetings. The Venatori had some powerful magisters, you know. I was curious what they had to say.
Of course. Just the same curiosity that makes you take supper with Magister Dulcia now and then. Always keeping those options open, yes? Very sagacious.
From Castilius' sour face, I assumed Magister Dulcia was part of the Venatori cult. You never heard of them, really. Power-grubbing fanatics who wanted to restore the glory of the Tevinter Imperium, or some slavering nonsense. Their possible involvement excited the mages at the table, who all spoke at once. I crept a handspan closer. Is this a Venatori abomination, then? What have those idiots done now? I say, Dulcia hasn't married again yet, has she? Castilius waved a hand. I'll only speak if you stop baying. They quitted. My supporting beam cracked for one heart-stopping moment. I swallowed, but no one below noticed. This is all I know. The Venatori didn't make the monster or wake it. They just encountered it during a search for some old cave under the city. It is not a demon, and it killed every mage in their expedition. Dulcia said the Venatori didn't put up the reward for the monster. Not that she's Venatori, he added hastily. But an interesting thing that her connections told her, that was the moment my wood beam cracked. With a shout, I turned my plummet into a series of artless skips down the wall before I hit a blessedly soft couch like a lead sack. The silence stretched awfully. My head was buried in sequined pillows. Then I heard the mage with the moustache loud and exasperated.
"I trust the sacred bowels. You're supposed to be keeping lookout."
I popped my head up. The mage was in front of the couch. He winked one grey eye at me, then declared,
"You know my mother's been trying to discover this little hideaway before her son fritters away the family fortune. Why did I put you in the rafters if not to watch the road for her servants?"
I threw myself on the ground in front of him, snivelling and craven.
Forgive me, my lord. The wood looked solid, but it was rotten.
My presence explained away. The other mages at the table were either chuckling or growing bored. A statuesque woman with blonde hair fanned herself with her cards.
Is she with you, then?
"Oh, yes, May.
The mage threw up his hands.
Honestly, if dear Holix wasn't the finest markswoman I've ever seen, she'd be scrubbing pots the rest of her days. No cuts? Broken bones?"
Only the shame of my failure pains me, my lord.
"I get the idea.
He sighed heavily.
This has rather spoiled the evening for me, I think. I'll take my leave. Ladies and gentlemen, come along, Holix."
I picked myself up, bowed without looking into anyone's eyes, and limped after. My saviour's retinue was waiting below, the same servants who'd prepared the place. We went out into the street when he turned to me.
"I admit it's a bit of a put-on.
The mage said.
Upstanding Tevinter mages sneaking off from their spouses or paramours to play wicked grace in a dangerous part of the city, armed only with the magic and an army of servants. Still, they think it spices up the evening's entertainment. Dorian Pavis, by the way. Fabulous acrobatics down there. And you are?"
I've taken a liking to Holix.
It got a laugh.
"Holix was the name of my mother's dear departed pet, Nug. You know. It means something like irrepressible rascal in Old Tevin.
A fine pedigree.
Let me invite you to supper. I promise if I'd wanted to cause any trouble, I'd already have done so. Besides..."
He plucked a flyer peeking out of my vest, one of the reward notices with the conspicuously altered price.
"I think we have something to talk about."
Hey. I had a very good light supper in a suite of white marbled rooms above and away from the docks. We were so high you could see over the trees of the public gardens. They were fed by an enormous round reservoir, covered in carvings of bellowing dragons that towered over one end of the greenery. As people strolled along the bowers, the plant flickered with light. No, it wasn't just lanterns. I mean light, glowing leaves. Dorian finished his glass.
"They say Minrathis never sleeps."
He told me.
"It does, but only when the sun rises, and everyone needs a good break from all that exhausting skullduggery. What do you think of the gardens?"
Are they magic?
"That light show certainly is. Personally, I feel it ruins their mystique."
He noticed me sip from my cup.
"The wine's a gift from a dear friend. Lady Montilier sends me a few choice bottles from her vineyards, but as a Riveni, perhaps you're obliged to scoff at an uneven red."
Their wine is decent.
I allowed.
A Lord of Fortune doesn't take Antiva and Ravain's rivalry so seriously. Where's the glory in it?
How does one make a living as a treasure hunter?
He paused.
Wait, that answers my own question. Allow me to rephrase. How does one survive a living as a treasure hunter?
It's different for everyone.
I drank some more of what was in fact a damnably excellent wine.
But you'd be surprised how often common sense just gets in the way.
My glass was somehow empty. Dorian nodded at a servant, who floated up with a pitcher. I remarked that he was the first mage of his station I'd seen whose household employed servants, not slaves. Dorian grimaced.
It's relatively recent, I'm ashamed to say. Someone I met in the south changed my mind on the matter.
You certainly came back home with some fresh views.
Someone behind us said. I'd turned to see the tall, splendidly dressed woman Dorian had spoken to at the card game sweep into the room. She had such a presence. You turned to her like you do the first breeze of spring.
Magister Maeveris Talani. Don't let that title frighten you off, darling. Dorian and I are on the outs with most of the rest of the Magisterium, if that helps.
She held out a hand. I lifted it and kissed it lightly.
You grace Hollix, this humble servant, with your presence.
Maeveris smiled, curly gold locks bouncing as she shook her head.
This one's trouble, Dorian. It takes a special sort of charmer to make a compliment like that work.
Dorian waved his goblet at the couch.
My guest and I have been getting on splendidly.
You must be.
Maeveris sat, looking at me as she tilted her head at Dorian.
He's not one to invite just anyone up here.
Your very attentions flatter, Magisters.
You've never been a servant in your life, have you?
Not long,
I conceded to the shrewdness in those eyes.
but the practice has come in useful from time to time.
Dorian stretched and sighed.
Well, that's enough wine and scintillating conversation. We have business.
We're skipping the friendly gossip.
You only want to talk about the Magisterium. Why you love seeing me so raggedly depressed, May, I can never understand.
Our duty to our country means being well informed about it.
She shrugged.
I mean it, dear heart. What has you worried?
This.
Dorian put the reward paper on the table among the three of us. It would pay out 500, alright, 1,000, sorry, it would pay out 5,000, alright, 1,000 Urum for the body of the monster slaughtering people on the docks, delivered to the Imperial offices that settled monster bounties.
Do you know who put up the original, much more frugal reward?
Dorian asked.
You?
I ventured.
A quick learner, or a good guesser. Either way, I've been hoping someone with promise would show up for this.
How come?
Dorian looked annoyed.
It's killing people. We're not all heartless up here. Few that we are. I don't like the idea of something in this city.
Maeveris picked up the paper.
Neither do I. You overheard us at the card table, Hollix. The mages there won't do anything about this monster until it snags one of their own. That's not likely to be soon, if ever.
I eyed the iron staff Dorian had propped up in one corner. No, I'm no mage, but I'm a decent judge of equipment, and the shaft had chips and scratches that looked like they'd been earned in battle. Maeveris was armed, but no mage in Tevinter's ruling body can't fight their way out of a corner. I know that much.
Why not hunt it down yourselves?
I asked them.
As much as it distresses me to say politics, there's foul rumblings in Tevinter's Magisterium, and we've been spending all our time keeping an eye on its scoundrels.
Dorian sighed.
You saw some earlier. May and I are trying to win a few of them over.
It's been slow,
Miveris put the flyer down, still elegant, still relaxed, but with a harder undertone.
but we're giving them a chance to prove they're not complete fools.
I nodded, uncomfortable with the talk. Well, wouldn't you be? Enjoyable as my hosts were, I was eager to move away from Tevinter politics to a threat I could actually see.
Tell me about the monster.
I said. Dorian produced a map. It was a wonderful piece of work. Crisp letters, bright inks, and a master's eye for detail.
There's been 9 people killed so far. Here, here, and here. Each was found decapitated. The criers and balladers have charmingly dubbed our killer the Secorax, which is a rather suspect clutching of the old Tevin word for headsman.
Dorian rolled up the map and presented it to me inside a cylinder decorated with indigo sapphires. Any doubts I had that he was good for 1,000 Aurum evaporated.
Here. I'm afraid that's all I have.
Be very careful, darling.
Miveris looked serious.
There's no shortage of creatures that have become changed by magical experiments in this city.
Not to mention Tevinter's naturally occurring enchanted predators.
Dorian added.
They're all dangerous, cunning, and unusually hungry.
You don't think the Secorax is an exception?
I said.
No.
Dorian replied.
Especially considering the guards never found its victims' heads.
I thanked Dorian for his generosity, then ransacked his storerooms for a few items, though I'm not sure he discovered that until I left. Then I slept off the bruises from my tumble at my inn. It was bright as noon when I woke up, but the thought of 1,000 Aurum dragged me out of bed. I headed to a garment-making district. The last killings had happened in that maze of redstone, behind the dye pots and rows of looms. I worked my charm and redistributed the contents of the slaver's purse. There was one tricky moment, when a pair of thieves thought I might be a scouting rival. After I explained I was a lord, beholden to fortune, looking for the Secorax, they laughed darkly and wished me luck. Pardon me. Talk? The weavers happily talked. People living in fear are in a mood to gripe. Sorting through the rumours, someone seemed to have escaped the monster and lived. I let it be known I wanted to speak with them, found shade in a wilting palm grove, and took out the reward flyer. Every place people had been killed was close to water and off the main roads. Unfortunately, that covered half of Manrathus. I needed something. Someone dropped a fruit pit on my head.
What are you reading?
A peevish voice asked. I looked up and saw a child squinting down at me through the palm fronds. With children, you'd best decide how you want to deal with them right at the start and see it through. Since she looked bored, I went with honesty.
The city needs a monster killer.
I told her, waving the flyer.
I've killed monsters.
You can't kill that one.
The girl declared. She had a missing tooth and a dark face speckled with freckles, like a spray of rain.
Nobody knows where it is.
How do you know nobody knows?
I listen to people.
She said it with the air of one talking to a well-meaning dolt.
Besides, if they'd seen it, they'd have drawn the monster on the poster.
She had me there.
Isn't that a bit high?
Nope.
She swung all the way upside down by her knees, then up again. The girl was dressed in fine-looking rags, something scavenged from a good home.
Bet you can't do that.
I shrugged and crouched, then sprang up the curved bole of a palm tree and somersaulted backward to land in the thick crown of the palm next to hers. Their fruits were purple and red.
Is this one ripe?
The girl closed her jaw and considered.
Take the other one. That one's got spots.
I did and bit. The bulb was warm and soft and had a tang under the sweetness. Wiping the juice off my face, I said,
Tell me, young lady,
It's Mizzy, mister.
Mizzy, what do you know about the Secorex?
I waved the paper again.
Well,
Yes?
it killed my friends.
She tried to sound matter of fact.
Templars took the bodies away to burn them, but I snuck in before that happened and I saw them laid out in rows on tables and their heads were all gone.
I stopped chewing.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The girl studied her hands, stretching out thin arms.
They weren't closest friends.
I'll kill the beast that took them, on my honor.
I said, trying to sound gallant. Then I cursed myself. Why I promised that tall order to a child, I don't know.
Can you tell me what the Secorex look like?
Mizzy shook her head.
When it happened, I was on my way to my sister's, who's such a good cook. She got freed and now she cooks for money. And I was on Blue Hook Street because my friends lived there and their ma and pa at the rug merchant's back house. And I was by the canal when I heard shouting and screaming and there was something in the water. But when I told my sister and she got the guards, everyone was dead.
We digested the picture in silence.
So you didn't see anything?
I eventually asked.
Not much,
She answered.
but I know how the monster got in the house.
Mizzy took me to a sewer behind the shack her friends had lived in. The grate was tall as 3 men, but barred. I expressed doubt anyone could cram themselves through, but Mizzy insisted that the thing she saw had slivered back that way, looking at the map. It was true every victim had been killed near one of these gigantic gutters. Farther down was a hole big enough for work people and such to fit into. Do I hear you repeating that old adage with a smirk? It's true, some of Marafis's upper streets are paved in marble, but her sewers stink like everywhere else's, believe me. I waded through the tunnels. Some minutes in, I saw part of the walls glow. A sickly blue, like you get from deep mushrooms. It trailed in strips across the walls and ceiling, as if someone dipped ropes as thick as your arms in paint, then dragged them along the masonry. The glow was bright enough to show me bronze plates stamped by the ceiling with the name of less fragrant streets above. The farther I went, the brighter the glow, and I started hearing something. Not splashing, faint and coarse. It came when I was moving, and I stopped when I didn't. That made me take out my saber, which is what saved me from when the Secorex came. I was going round a turn when a thrashing mass of tentacles shot out of the cracks and water. I yelled and slashed, looping off a dozen grasping, roiling feelers. The thing's wormy bulk swung, and milky flesh peeled back to reveal, I don't know, a blade? It was silvery, but air bent round it like air bent round it like cleaved space. It slashed arcs that cut the rock behind me like soft butter. I ran. Ropes writhed along the ceiling after me, and some of them opened up eyes. Ordinary people's eyes, studied into the flesh like jewels on a fancy sword sheath. Here we go. The Secorex's voice was many voices speaking together, all tiny and softly rotten. On the count of 3. We ready?
Uh-huh.
1,
Yep.
2, 3. Slip
Slip
gently.
gently.
That had like sort of a happy birthday vibe.
Well, we're doing it. A rope of tentacles splattered behind me. There was a delicate noise like air tearing. Part of my cloak fluttered into the muck. I ran faster, legs pumping. The thing lopped off much cloth, like it was playing. 1, 2, 3. Stay with us. It cooed. It's hard to explain the joyful malice radiating out from it. You could feel it, like cold in the winter. 1, 2, 3. Come inside, where it's warm. There is room in the crown of the blind.
Oh my God.
It's brilliant. Still running, I twisted to block with my saber. The air hummed. I felt a sting on my cheek, and my blade fell to pieces. Weaponless, bleeding, lungs on fire. I dug out something I'd cobbled together from the supplies from Dorian's storehouse and threw it hard at the Sekirax. The secret of smoke pellets is this. Never throw them by your feet. Aim at whoever or whatever is chasing you, preferably at the eyes. Black, oily clouds bloomed out of the pellet satchel, filling the tunnel. It saved me, but not the way I'd thought. I peered back, still running, to see that damn monster bunching its tentacles around inky curls, prodding and palpitating the stuff. It was examining the smoke. Whenever its pale limbs touched each other, they fused together. When it flexed, they split and reformed. Others tangled up, slowly reabsorbing as they lazily rippled through its mini wormy mass. I tell you, friends, I still can't enjoy a plate of octopus after that. I made it around another corner, but heard 1, 2, 3. Come back, visitor. As loud as if the Sekirax had been breathing into my ear. I saw a tentacle roping across the pipes above me. 1, 2, 3. I'm a sweeter ending than you know. Things are rising. It modulated down to a whisper and unsheathed its silver. 1, 2, 3. Stay safe inside of me. I scooped up a brick and threw. There was a satisfying splat, and the crumbled thing shot backward, leaving a trail of bright glowing slime behind it. At last, I was by an exit. I scrambled up the ladder and slammed the iron cover down. I hadn't come out of a street, but the bottom of a stairwell. No worries, I thought, as I lurched up, blood trickling down my face. I'd climbed 100 staircases before I went down there again. So long as this place was dry and safe, I was for it. Which is how I ended up stumbling out of a storage closet into a Templar barracks. Only water left? Let's get another barrel, shall we? Much obliged. Where was I? Right. So I spent the next 15 minutes dodging armoured brutes trying to throw me in jail for trespassing with malice intent. That's what they shouted anyway. The Templars in Tevinter, unlike the rest of the world, lack the ability to stop magic. They're only guards with fancy equipment doused in lyrium. It gives them chips the size of trees on their shoulders, if you ask me, and might explain their surliness. After dodging the chase, I scrubbed myself clean on a weedy beach. It washed off my makeup, but better salty and wind chapped than where the stink of that sewer for another moment. Wrapping my face in a scarf, I returned to the inn so I could change my clothes, give the old ones up for burning, and examine the map of Manrathus. Right then, I felt someone else should sort out that monster. Money be damned. But I did feel obliged to at least give Dorian Pavis a location, a description of the Sekirax, and a hearty handshake before I left. So after a blessed change of clothes, I set out to find the building that stood over where I'd met the Sekirax before. I set to find the building that stood over where I did. I certainly wasn't going back to the sewer, but I could give Dorian the rough location before I fled the city. So I went by Manrathus's many stairs and crenellated and crenellated walkways, avoiding canals and cesspits completely. In defiance of my encounter with the Sekirax, the sun was shining brilliantly. The map led me to an enormous terrace, suspended over a swath of climbing, glittering plants and trickling fountains. These were the vast gardens I'd spied from Dorian's suite. What's that? Yes. To my surprise, even in the sun, the plants shimmered with light. It was subtler in daytime, but gave everything a sort of jewelled look. All this sat above the Sekirax's lair, a solid 3 floors above the ground. Despite the sun, as I walked past statues of stern magisters, a melancholy settled over me. A lot of fortune doesn't like giving up. True, this wasn't some glorious jewel begging to be freed. It was a monster I couldn't fight. If I'd had a crew with me, but I didn't. Not in that city. I was dressed in an Orlesian mask and cloak, which wouldn't attract much attention from strutting mages, so I decided the gardens would be my last taste of Minrafus's luxury. There was laughter in those gardens, and rose bowers, and loops of arbour blessing, and sweet apples with their own perfume, and vendors hawking sticky figs rolled in nuts, and a pool lush with dawn lotuses. Waterfalls showered the ponds, thanks to a cleverly hid aqueducts ferrying water from the looming reservoir. Tiny butterflies flapped everywhere, an illusion, I learned, when a flock passed harmlessly through my arm. Where's that next round? Good, thank you kindly. My wandering took me to a stand of trees around a pond, thick birches studded with large holes the way they get sometimes. Birds had built nests in them. I peeked at one, empty. The next 2 were likewise. There was another deeper in the stand. I walked a few lazy paces and peered in, and was met with a nest of bones. Bodies of a dozen birds of all sizes, headless, had been piled carefully to form a dome. It had a grotesque sort of style. The birds were all turned the same way, as if the flock was chasing itself down. I stumbled back into the clearing, only grabbing a branch saved me from dunking my idiot arse in the pond. The birch next to me shuddered, and I watched as a white tendril slid out of a hole in the bark and opened up a wet brown eye. The Sekirax tittered. I slowly continued, step by questing step, retreating back onto the main stone path. Some of those birds' necks had been freshly bloody. I felt unshakably it wasn't some old collection. The Sekirax had placed in there, in the clearing, fresh just for me. As I walked in a slow daze, I could now see the faintest undercurrent of blue in the hollow tree trunks housing the Sekirax, snug as a spider. The more I looked, the more I picked out its coil running behind the grass by a wall, around the base of trees perfectly camouflaged in the hanging vines. I tried not to shake. I and everyone strolling along were surrounded by a perfect predator. The Sekirax was nestled through the entire gardens. Whatever I'd seen below was the smallest part of it. 1, 2, 3. Visitor. Its pulpy voice whispered. As I'd edged to the gates, eyes suddenly blinked on a strand of ropes shifting in the shade next to me. 1, 2, 3. What? Far down the path was an elven slave trudging after a chartering mage. A tentacle slid through the grass and flicked the hem of the elf's robes. He stopped and looked around, puzzled. Nothing there. He didn't see the second appendage rear up from a thicket, fraying open to reveal a cutting edge. A jug smashed into it. I barreled in, loud and doing my best imitation of an Orlesian accent.
Sirs, watch out, please.
The mage turned. His surprise quickly became annoyance. I'm sorry?
A venomous drakeadder.
I leaned on my legs as if tired from a short run in my thick dress, shaking my head.
I didn't think you had them in Tevinter.
What are you on about?
See here.
I lifted the bush. There was a smear of milky blue glowing softly in the shade.
It is a most poisonous snake. We have many in Ghislaine. I'm afraid I only wounded it, but the animal was prepared to strike.
Well, no, I can't do anywhere near a Ghislaine accent. I've never been to Ghislaine, but see, neither have most people in Tevinter. The Sycorax's blood left a powerful stench. The mage sniffed the air. That does smell foul. He backed away. Well, thank you, madame. You've saved me the trouble of training up a new... Oh, my lord. I'm a new... Oh, I can't say that word. Of training up a new... Amanuensis?
I don't know.
Yeah. You saved me the trouble of training up a new... Amanuensis, eh? Florix? Florix kept his face carefully straight as he gave a strained laugh. As you say, master. They left, taking a causeway out of the gardens and into a colossal tower in the curved shadow of the reservoir. 1, 2, 3. Fortunate. The Sycorax gurgled too close beside me. It didn't sound angry. I can't tell you why, but I had the feeling I amused it. Why shouldn't I? I hadn't done any real damage. Grabbing that watering jar and hurling it, as in the sewer, I just managed to slow it down. The gate out of the gardens was so close. Could I outrun it? Would it let me go? Would it permit me a few steps, then lop my head off and hide my body in a lotus pond? 1, 2, 3. No more false faces. No masks. Become soft and blind in the crown of me. That energized me. My art is my own, and no maker-forsaken thing was going to take it. I ran past the gates to shade and freedom. 3, 2, 1. There will be others. Maybe I imagined it, but I thought I heard something wistful as the Sycorax added 1, 2, 3. They will be joined in me.
Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck did I just say?
What did we all just say? I shoved my way through the crowds, heading for the docks. I'd send a letter to Dorian, I told myself. At least he'd believe me. I was done with the place. This wasn't my city. As if to agree, there was a whip crack and a cart of dulled elves and humans in chains lumbered by. I lurched to the left, seeing freedom in the sails of the clippers and galleons, preparing to depart with the tide.
I'm not sure who this is.
Ooh, okay. I will do this character. Oh, is it Mizzy? I think it's Mizzy.
I think it's random.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because we see up here a voice hissed. The urchin Mizzy was hanging out the window.
Do you know what? I just completely lost my place. I am so sorry.
Oh, or is it the Templar?
Is it the bit that says "Hey you"? Because I thought that was a Templar.
I think it is a Templar. I don't know.
It might be, actually.
Hey, you. I'll do it.
Yeah, it's a Templar.
I'll do it. Hey, you. Silver flashed off an armoured Templar. Yeah, there we go. Pointing at me. I was just as flawed as I'd been by the Sycorax. A second-rate Templar seeing right through one of my disguises from several houses away. Look there, the Templar cried. It's the one with that fancy map case. Aha! I was only a dolt carrying very recognisable jewels. I ran. This time it was harder. The Templars had me pegged for a serious thief. Sorry, well yes, true. But I hadn't stolen anything worth the run they gave me. I vaulted up and across rooftops with an ease that had the crowds clapping. But there was always a Templar in the next street, a silver fist on the walkway. Eventually I was cornered in a short alley by 6 of them, their swords and maces ready. There's no one who looks as cross as a Templar you've just made run several city streets in full armour. I tried to decide between running up sheer stone or begging for mercy before hitting one in the eye. Then someone dropped a golden flask on the Templars' heads. There was a pop. Lightning sizzled. The Templars yelled and beat at their armour. A voice hissed. That urchin, Mizzy, was hanging out a window. I could reach it with help. I ran, jumping onto one of the Templars. Lightning flashed. I felt like I'd been bitten by a snake, but I pushed off the howling woman, teeth gritting, and my fingers found the ledge. Many rooftops later, I was satisfied we'd lost them. I turned to thank Mizzy, who was staring.
What were you doing at the docks?
She asked.
How did you know it was me?
You got that map case.
She peered at me.
You were moving different too, until the guards saw you.
Have you been following me?
I'm bored. Your skin's all painted.
Or Legion custom?
I said, touching the heavy makeup with a finger.
This shade by the neck is all the rage in Valrio. What was in that flask?
Mizzy took another flask somewhere out of her clothes. Something cracked inside it like a miniature storm cloud.
I run messages for a chemist mage who makes them, and sometimes she throws out bottles that don't work right, and she doesn't care if I take them. Magic. It makes you faster when the lightning comes out. Did you know lightning hates metal?
Menrafis, a city where magic's so common it gets thrown into a gutter.
Well, thank you.
Where are you going to leave?
No,
I lied.
I found the Sycorax. A mage and I, a good mage, are thinking of a way to kill it.
I stood up and brushed off my cloak.
It'll be dead before you know it. By the way, stay away from the gardens.
Oh. All right.
It was those flat little words that stopped me. I looked at Mizzy and saw her lip tremble, and realised she knew I'd lied but was pretending. That her friends killed by a monster were worth avenging. That someone in this grinding city would help. That a funny stranger in fancy dress would turn out to be, if not a hero, a decent imitation of one. All the while, the crackling clouds in the bottle kept turning. My breath caught, and something broke open in my head. A reckless, perilous plan, but one I knew I had to chance if I ever wanted to call myself a lot of fortune in good standing.
Mizzy,
I asked.
how would you like to make 100 Aurum?
The girl gasped, then her eyes brightened. Imagination had won.
Mister?
She looked at my dress.
Mrs.?
It's Mrs. when I'm in this outfit. Anyhow, we'll need mages. And a trip to your alchemist, and...
My fingers twitched, as they do when I'm on a sudden upswing.
Best do this at night, Mizzy.
Dorian's patronage or not, I felt it best to be cautious after the debacle with the Templars and the map case. Besides, what I was planning needed a certain amount of discretion. People would have questions after we put my plan into motion. Never mind that if it worked, they should thank me. I've learned not to overestimate gratitude with these things. So people saw a human magister sweep into an alchemist's shop. After deep consultation with the doddering woman, she purchased a variety of eye-wateringly dangerous powders. A cloaked dwarf, newly emerged from the underground and complaining about the sun, purchased a okay, maybe it isn't a spelling mistake, I don't know. A Qunari. Sounds like QAnon. A Qunari-style harpoon from a purveyor of slightly reclaimed weaponry. It was a smudgy elf child who ran through the public gardens pretending to clean refuse. I'll read that again. It was a smudgy elf child who ran through the public gardens pretending to clean refuse while clandestinely placing sacks underneath benches and a package in the crook of a fountain. She was later met by a hunched Qunari slave hobbling with her into the press of the streets. Then, after I whipped the magic from Mizzy's squirming face after I wiped the makeup from Mizzy's squirming face and changed into the clothes I'd worn when I first met him, we visited Dorian Pavis. He let us in with a raised eyebrow and was very good about not throwing me out when I told him my plan. It was dark when the lovers, spies, poets, thieves, and magisters still occupying the public gardens were driven out by a sudden wave of throat-scoring fumes. The stuff was so powerful my eyes streamed as Mizzy and I sat on a pair of aqueducts below the reservoir. From the vantage you saw the thing was shaped like an onion bulb on stilts. Dragons frolicked above.
I think everyone's gone,
said Mizzy. There was still a little makeup on her chin. The Sycorax wouldn't know her, but Mizzy had insisted on going out in disguise anyway, when she tossed those satchels about. The bags slowly baked in the sun, letting off their vapours when the night came and they cooled again. The alchemist had tried to explain it to me. I had told her it should be adequate for driving rats off my property.
It's time.
I gave Mizzy a gentle shove.
Get up to where Dorian is. Get up to where Dorian and his friends are. I'll give you the signal when I'm ready.
What's that?
Waving. Possibly some yelling.
She nodded.
I like your clothes.
I was wearing the colourful sashes, capes, pants, shirts, belts, scarves, charms, and gold jewellery that are the right and privilege of any Lord of Fortune that lasts a year or two. Okay, indicator of what our rook could potentially look like. Or at least the drip in the Lord of Fortune faction. Yes, like I'm wearing now. Noise wouldn't be a problem that night. I gave Mizzy a bangle and her eyes went wide.
Keep it always, even if you end up dying,
she told me. Then with that slice of chia, she ran off into the dark. I tied a wet scarf tight around my lower face. This would be the worst part. I saw glowing leaves shiver as I strolled, conspicuously right through the gardens. The scarf helped me with the fumes. Nothing else stopped me. As I walked, coughing a little, I saw coils slip out of sight and heard a noise light as a sigh in the blossoms and the trellises and the trees. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Visitor.
Visitor.
Oh, visitor.
Oh, visitor.
Come to
me.
It could draw you, that voice. It was too easy to slide to the centre of that green maze, down the terraces to where the water in a fountain rippled the breeze.
Hello again.
I choked out.
How have you been?
That tittering again, high and away. I saw 2 small dots of blue glow from a ledge on the tower beside the reservoir. 2 vials of lyrium. Mages drank the stuff, sparingly, when they're about to undertake great works.
Secorex.
I coughed again, and projected my best pleading and yearning, a hopelessness that, not enough, is all life would ever be.
Here I am. I give up. You can have me. If I beg a favor. Just one thing. I've only seen part of you. Your whole great Secorex. Before I die. That's what I want to see.
The fountain gurgled, and eyes sprang out from the bushes and under the water. Strands of ropes brazenly coiled up the trees. 1, 2, 3. Yes. That awful voice fluttered to me. Its flesh poured into the lawns around the fountain, churning balls of worms connecting and reforming. One teasingly sliced off one of my dangling scarves, held it in front of a curious eye as more and more of the monster drew itself out of the gardens in front of me. I backed away, climbing onto the stone lip of the fountain. A 4-headed stone dragon spewed water into the basin. 1, 2, 3. Look. The Secorex said, as a mass as tall as a house undulated up. It peeled open at the top, like a lily, and tilted forward so I could see. There was a ring of heads, dozens, not just 9. Their eyes were plucked out, their flesh otherwise whole and healthy. Squeezing tendrils ran inside, caressed their cheeks. A crown of the blind lovingly carried inside that atrocity. A crown of the blind lovingly carried inside that atrocity. When the Secorex spoke, their silent mouths formed the dripping words. Oh no! 1, 2, 3. Come inside and see. Gross. I must have screamed.
So gross.
And quite apt. I must have screamed and waved my arms because a ball of fire and stone cast from a pair of staffs smashed into the looming reservoir with incredible ferocity. It had never been built to withstand an assault, especially when packets of explosive Cunari Gatlock powder had been stuck there by some idiot earlier. There was a crack from the reservoir, then the terrible sensation of stone buckling and a great weight sliding free. Even the Secorex stopped writhing, turning its tendrils before a lake's worth of water swept over everything. I grabbed the fountain's dragons. The deluge ripped off my scarves, the charms and necklaces. When the roaring became a stream and then a trickle, I threw up a lungful of water. Arms aching, I dragged my numb legs behind me as I climbed up the dragon heads. The bulk, that crown, rose untroubled, whipping its many limbs about as if it were shaking off a light rain. Other ropey strands slid through the water like eels, circling the fountain. My hands groped back into the small pit where the dragon heads met. 1, 2, 3. Come. It said, as if we hadn't been interrupted. 1, 2, 3. See how nothing can hurt me. Come and be safe. Your true face forever be
E.
What are we
Can I
doing?
interrupt you for just a split second? This sounds like a reading class, like we're trying to figure out the words very, very, very slowly.
Doing our best, okay?
Yeah, it's hard.
Trying so hard to be in sync.
We've still got more.
It's very hard. We all have a different rhythm. It's
It
very hard
works
to be
though.
in sync.
It's supposed to be like different voices anyway.
Oh.
So I think it works as
Yeah.
It works as an echo more so than people trying to do it at the same time.
I'm sorry. I was doing it purposefully, trying to be
Yeah,
off.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean-
It was spot
Okay.
on. I think it's spot on when it's off because it's supposed to be different voices.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll just try to keep to my own rhythm if we get another
just so you-
Sakurex line.
Yeah. I relaxed. I don't know how. Holix relaxed after that. Nodding as those scalpel blades hummed. My hand closed on the harpoon that Mizzy had hidden earlier, and threw. It punctured the Sekurex's main mass with a squelch. A whirling blade sliced off one of the dragon heads. A metal coil I had looped around the harpoon was now dangling in the water nicely. Happy Thought says it works and we're all doing so well. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I ducked another blade and screamed up the mages. Up to
Now!
the mages.
Now, please.
Lightning slammed into the upturned harpoon. The Sekurex shrieked. Everything in the water lit up, purple spots dancing in my eyes as it grew almost too bright to see. Flesh spasmed, every connected root and frond twisting. The Sekurex's main mass toppled and popped. Blue-white liquid poured into the water, dissolving. 1, 2, 3. Visitor. It gurgled. Voices lost as heads toppled from the crown. The last one was barely a whisper. What have you done to me?
I don't know if my mic picked up on that.
Neither do I.
I heard it.
Oh, cool.
I
Okay,
didn't.
cool.
Okay.
I waited until the thrashing stopped, and all the worming ropes grew very still. The water continued to spark and sizzle, and I knew better than to leave. But I wanted to mark the victory.
I was told to tell you, oh Sakurex, that was from Mizzy.
That was one of the most disgusting things I've seen ever in my life.
Dorian said as we arrived at the bristling piles of the docks. We were in a carriage, drawn by those horse-sized lizards Tevinter like so much. Even their draft animals are an oddity.
Do you know what May and I found left of the Sekurex in that soup after it drained away?
Dorian continued.
A sort of skin, mostly.
Like a sausage casing.
Please don't.
Wait, who is this? Is this me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must ask, what was the Sakurex?
Dorian smothered down one side of his mustache.
That soggy mess didn't do much to clear that up. Some ancient breed of demon? Some fiend brewed up by a magister?
He looked pensive.
I was at a party with one of those necromancers from down south a while ago. 5 cups in, she went on about things past our veil of the world. Neither demon nor spirit. Perhaps it wasn't the tipsy nonsense I assumed it to be.
Let me just highlight that because we can come back to it later. The lizard pulled the carriage over a high arching bridge. For once, at least, in this thoroughfare, it was quiet in the city. Dorian struck his head out for a moment to admire the sight, then drew back in.
May Varys sends her regards, by the way. I doubt that light show would have been so splendid without her help. She'd be here, but intrigue struck in with the Magisterium.
Will she have to explain to them how the garden reservoir cracked open so mysteriously?
I understand those dastardly perpetrators are long gone from the city. We're going to have a harder time explaining the lightning. It's been a while since I cast something so spectacular, and it practically lit up every corner in Minrathous.
I hefted my purse, 500 or Araim. No, Mizzy didn't ask for more. Sorry, yeah. But after a night like that, I felt she acted so much like a lot of fortune in the making. Anything less than half was miserly. She and her sister were leaving the city for a while, until those troublesome questions about who'd flooded whose public gardens faded from memory. If she liked, I had told Mizzy she might learn something from the Lords of Fortune in Ravane. Let me just highlight that as well.
I've got loads of aunts and uncles and cousins south of here.
She had said reproachfully.
I've got to take care of them now that I'm rich, lady. But when I grow up,
She had concluded.
maybe I'll visit. Don't forget me.
Then she hugged me for a moment and ran into the crowds, and she was gone. The carriage pulled up to a clipper. The sails were pearl white, and its captain was already waiting.
Courtesy of Mayfaris, I'll thank her for you. It's fast and reasonably comfortable, even by my standards.
Dorian said.
Everything's paid up for your journey.
You two are exceedingly generous.
I replied, and meant it very much.
Consider it one last courtesy. May and I would hate to leave you with a bad impression of this fair city.
I got out and took my packs, and looked at the clustered towers of Minrathous in the sunrise. For a moment, and from that angle, it was serenity. Turning to Dorian, I told him.
I wouldn't come back to Minrathous even if you paid me.
Then I shrugged.
But a few of the people are very lovely.
He laughed and waved goodbye as I set out on the boat to Ravane. I've since drilled a hole into one of those 500 golden coins and have it around my neck here, just for the memory. Anywho, to answer your earlier question, that's the story of how I came by this map case, with sapphires of such fine quality. End of the story. Who exactly is asking that question, though? Is that just to the reader, or is that to somebody in particular? I think it's just to the reader, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just to the reader.
Yeah. It's basically Holix telling the story in a tavern.
Yeah, Tavern in Ravane after going back.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's like... Overall thoughts of the story, anybody? What do we all think of Luck in the Gardens?
We liked that
Yeah.
one.
What the hell is a Suckerex?
Literally.
Yeah.
Biggest... yeah, yeah.
Sakarax is nasty.
Is it a creation of Gillinan, or is it just...
Oh, definitely.
You know,
It collects
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Tentacly and stuff.
It does have the tentacles going for it. It does seem on brand.
Yeah. The tentacles, the eyes. There was no sense of smell, though. Like, if it said smelled of the ocean, there was no sense of that. But, like, the octopusy kind of thing, the fact that it sounds like a sea creature, and Gillinan, all of her sea creatures were spared, to me sounds like it's a
I mean,
creature of Gillinan.
I imagine it just mainly smelled like sewer. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I also,
yeah.
if there are any French people listening, I want to apologize for my fake
No, it was-
Norwegian accent.
It was great. It was great. It was
Thanks. I tried. I was not
fantastic.
prepared for that.
You did such a good job.
You did brilliant.
Thank
You
you.
all did brilliant.
Okay.
I love the Cockney twist for Mizzy to cast. That was brilliant.
Yes, that was great.
And then Dorian by Lucas and Maveras by Emily. Fantastic portrayals. I could just see them in my head. It was brilliant. Everybody waving. Hello.
I have-
People are
I
calling
have
the
no
Sakura
accents to give, I'm
disgusting.
sorry.
Disgusting.
Sorry, what?
What was that, Emily?
What?
What did you say?
Oh, no, I was just saying I'm sorry I had no accents to give,
Oh,
to
you,
offer.
you didn't need to. You didn't need to.
Lady, you performed.
Yeah, it exuded.
Yeah.
It exuded the charm and mystique of Maveras. We also don't know what she sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Dorian, he has a lot of energy when he speaks. It's very, it's kind of like his voice almost undulates up and down, up and down. And I'm
Yeah.
assuming that, I mean, I obviously don't know what Mayveris, what she sounds like, but in Tevinter, I'm just kind of assuming that she would have like a commanding voice. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I tried.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's commanding for sure, with a touch of elegance. Well, more of a touch, but yeah. Chat is clapping. That's what the waving emojis are. They're clapping. Thanks, chat. Thank you,
Oh.
chat.
Well done, you figure out the emoji.
I thought they were waving. I'm like, hello.
Doing frequent rounds of applause for the various voice acting of this one.
I would ask if you need glasses, but the shocking fact is you have glasses.
I'm wearing them right now. No, Lucas, don't do me like that.
Maybe you should get your eyes checked again. When was the last time?
A year ago. It was literally a year
Yeah,
ago in
see.
July. Yeah, I could do with more glasses. Get another pair.
In terms of the monster, I am considering that it may be something different. It might not be Gillenan related. I mean, because Thetis is so big,
Yeah.
it would be hard to believe that every monster came from her. I mean, although we don't know how long she was alive for and how long she was just hanging out in her monster factory, just producing these things like a Ford motor assembly line,
Yeah, it's true.
constant supply and demand. So I mean, it could just be something different, but the tentacles do kind of give it that Gillenan flair.
Yeah, I think also the fact that there was like a massive demon lurking in Minrathous, which we'll get to in another story. Like, it shows that there's just a lot of demon shit in Minrathous anyway. So maybe it could just be something beyond the veil, as Dorian says. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be Gillenan's creature. It could just be another weird demon thing. On the flip side of that, if we've seen the latest trailer and we know that like shit's going down in Minrathous with like an eclipse, red stuff, tentacles, blight stuff, the fact that like Minrathous was at least one of the epicenters of the ancient Elven Empire, for me kind of be like, okay, maybe it could be a demon related to Gillenan if that was the epicenter. Obviously, assuming that's the case. So I think that there's reason for both. It could be just a demon hanging about, creepy, or it actually then could belong to Gillenan.
Okay, so if it's a demon, what kind of demon do you think it is?
Good question.
It collects people's head.
Yeah.
So it wants people to join it, and be with it. So like
Belonging, happiness, family.
yeah,
It's a family demon.
It's just
You
lonely.
make it sound
Yeah.
so nice and sweet.
It just
but
wants to be. It just wants you
I mean-
to be inside it.
What's another word for that? Like when you want everyone to be friends with you, but like in a
desperate?
negative way.
Desperation. Desperation.
But we already have a despair demon.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that too, but we already have despair. So like, what else could it be?
Just wants
It's like-
friends.
Greed, but not in terms of material stuff, but like friendship and family, I suppose.
It's not.
It's
me,
a
is it?
crossover from the Elder Scrolls. It's Hermaeus Mora,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
demon
yeah.
of knowledge.
I like how he speaks. I am Hermaeus Mora. I can do his voice pretty well, actually. What's the line of dialogue that he says? It just
No
wants
idea.
people to be inside of it. So what's a word for that?
It just wants a hug.
Google.com. What does it mean?
No, I don't think we should Google that.
Yeah, please Google. I want you inside of me.
It
Synonym.
just. It
Maybe go
just
incognito mode if you do that.
wants to. It just wants me to be inside.
It
of
wants to
It's
know if I'm
lonely
18
demon.
or older.
A synonym. I want you. I'm not gonna read that out. Despite crave, want,
It seeks harmony.
harmony. Yeah, I want. Yeah,
I mean, couldn't it be desire in a way? I
Desire.
don't know. You could desire.
Yeah.
You could
I
desire.
suppose.
it's turning into a lust even
People-
at this point.
But the
To be
question is like,
fair-
does it desire body contact or does it desire food?
The fact that it
Nice.
eats,
Well,
does it eat heads or does it collect heads? Because it just took
I
the
thought it
heads,
was
didn't it?
more so that it isn't lonely. Because I feel like
Yeah.
it feels lonely and it just wants friends and it wants everyone to. Oh, let me look at those lines again. What does it say
Yeah.
again?
Collecting
So-
heads kind of reminded me, like, I don't know how deep you guys are into Fallout, but it reminded me of that one Fallout, I think it was a comic where they put one guy in a vault alone with a crate of, I think, 100 hand puppets, and he just went insane.
That's my
Yeah,
call.
I
That'd
mean-
be brilliant. That'd be so fun.
That makes sense. It offers safety, your true face, be free. See how nothing can hurt me. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be desire. The original design for the Desire Demon was actually not what the devs intended
Oh,
back in
okay.
Origins.
Oh.
So, because the Desire Demon was not an Inquisition, maybe if they want to bring it back, they're gonna do it in a different way.
Yeah. And the thing about this demon that Patrick Weeks did say, Patrick Weeks in a live stream, so I can't bring the quote up. It was a live stream where I was able to ask, Trix Weeks. I was able to ask Trick Weeks about the Soul Last question about dwarves. So that was 2020, ages ago. But Trix did say that one of their favourite stories was Look in the Garden because, with the Sekirax, because this would not be a creature that would exist in the video game. That's what they said. They were able to, or Sylvia Fekete was able to kind of envision their own kind of thing, really write whatever they wanted, and they chose to do a Lovecraftian creature. So maybe because, with that creative freedom, she decided to go a bit more crazy with it, meaning that it could represent any kind of demon, but she's got a bit of creative freedom to go, yeah, this is really whatever, I can do whatever I want. So
Well,
that's, yeah.
If they did say creature, maybe they just said that to be vague and not give anything away. But if they did say creature, that makes me think it's just something completely new. Maybe
Yeah,
because
also
otherwise
true.
maybe
Also
they
true.
would have said
Almost like
demon.
an accident or something.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
that was said in a live stream where it wasn't fully like as a statement. It was just said kind of spontaneously, as opposed to
Right.
fully thought out in law. It was just like, oh yeah, it's this thing that da 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 da. But still, they did make that point of that Sylvia had so much creative freedom with it. So it still could be a demon, just a different kind of demon. And we know that demon designs are changing anyway, with this new nervous system thing representing the world. So maybe it's just a different kind of demon aesthetically wise, or yeah. But also it could just be a different kind of creature altogether.
There was that line that made it sound really sad, where it said, "There will be others." Maybe I imagined it, but I thought I heard something wistful as the Sekirax added, "They will be joined in me."
Oh yeah.
And that sounded kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like I feel sorry for it, is what I mean. Like it's really hopeful. It's like, friends, come to
Please.
me.
It's kind of
Please.
cute in its own way.
I have beans. Come.
Yeah, wistful. Yeah, wistful's like what? Like a thought, like showing feelings of a vague or regretful longing. Like it's that's like a very emotive word for a
So
creature.
to sum it up, there was a creature with a lot of tentacles roaming around Minrathis being desperate for Shag. And then it
I got the
and then
Go
it
ahead.
was stabbed and drained into the sea or canals or whatnot and left behind a skin.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on as well. That it
No
left
further
behind-
analysis required.
Yeah.
No, just leave it there.
That's the next part. Is it left a skin behind, which
Yeah, I
shows
wonder
that.
what kind.
Oh, Lucas, no. Someone's head skin.
Yeah, also like
Four?
what's happened to the
Sausage.
head?
Forehead skin.
Oh, God.
Sausage casing?
Yeah, sausage casing.
kind of
Sausage
reminds
king.
me of the movie. Have you all seen Scary Movie 3?
Yes.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Remember the scene where, oh God, oh, okay. So, Charlie Sheen goes up and he discovers Michael Jackson in the room, and then he's fighting him, and then Michael Jackson, who turned out to be an alien, jumps out, and the only thing that's left behind is the skin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what came to my head when I read that, and I was like, oh God.
Oh. Oh, and Villainous
But in
Kitty saying
terms-
cheap as creepers as well.
Oh yeah, that's a
Oh,
Oh man, I need to watch that again.
Yeah, me
I haven't
too.
watched that since I was like 12. It scarred me
Same.
for life.
Yes, it was one of the first horror films I saw as a kid. Oh,
Collecting parts. But that actually brings me to not me. It brings this to a good point about that is I assumed when I was reading this that it was collecting heads to function, but it's just lonely. It just wants to talk to itself.
That's how I took it.
that's how I'm
I don't know
too,
what else
yeah.
it does.
If we examine the dialogue, it's joined to me. What's the first thing it says? Does it come back visitor?
The very first thing it says is
Oh, it was-
slip gently.
Yeah, it cares about you.
Yeah.
Slip gently.
I want you to fall, but
Into me.
gently.
Into me. Gently
Not
and
hard. Into me. Yes, indeed. What was the page? I wrote it down on Discord. Page 150, 51. Let's see. Yeah, so stay with us. It could.
Stay
Yeah.
inside of me.
It's hard to explain the joyful malice radiating from it. Joyful?
It was a Hanar from Mass Effect.
Who
love
said-
the idea
Oh,
of-
Toby!
Of a Hanar just
You-
terrorizing
It just
Winrathus.
makes the threat less of a threat.
I mean, that would explain why they talked about light so much. Hanar light up when they talk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are Krogan heads in Inquisition
Yeah.
and in Dragon Age 2 as well, I think. Yeah, so
Maybe it's like
Yeah.
ancestral Hanar.
yeah.
You've also got I'm a sweeter ending than you know.
There is
Ooh.
room in the crown of the blind.
Oh.
Come inside where it's warm. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting that it keeps bringing up the crown of blind. Why
does-
blind? Is it blind? Is it using the eyes?
Maybe
I
that's
mean,
what it does.
what-
It uses its heads for eyes? Maybe no.
Come back, visitor. I am a sweeter ending than you know. Things are rising. Stay safe inside of me. Things are rising. So like,
Yeah, what?
does it is? Okay, hold on. Let me think for a second. So like, does it know somehow what's gonna happen with the Veil, or
Yeah,
like what's gonna
yeah.
happen in Veilguard? And it's like, ah, stay with me. It's safe here.
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
If we know Soras had a ritual in the Fade during Tevinter Nights and after Trespass there, demons and spirits knew kind of what was going on. I think it would have an inkling. Yeah, for sure.
My God, this raises only more questions. Because like, if that is the case, how does it know? What are you? What is this thing?
The Sacrax
I was
is
just curious if
blood.
anybody had done any fan art of the
Oh
Sacrax.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Probably.
I'm just gonna put it in chat. That is
Ooh.
not how I imagined it.
No.
No, that's not how
Me
I imagined it
neither.
either.
That looks amazing.
It looks cool though. It looks
Right?
very cool.
I imagine it as Hermaeus Mora, so like a black tentacle thing with eyes.
Yeah, same.
Like, hold on.
That's for Hermaeus.
Be more like that. Yeah.
Yes, I'll post
mean,
that. Yes, I'll post it on the.
I mean, when they said it looked like a lily flower, I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing. It's just these inside, there's kind of like a stem, and that's what has the heads on it, but everything folding up around it and then kind of like folding down are its tentacles.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a good visual or not. Or maybe I should draw it.
That looks spot on to what it's supposed to be. Interesting that Tricks Week said though that like it wouldn't exist in a video game, but like there's concept art that looks similar to what it could be. Obviously, this isn't it, but it looks like it could be it.
Well, did they mean that it didn't exist in the current games, or it wouldn't exist? Like, we wouldn't see it in the next game either?
Yeah.
Or is that because?
It was more like that because of its tentacles and because of its heads and stuff. Like it just wouldn't exist in a game like that because it just would be so much. Like it's such a crazy.
Like
the
that.
idea I get.
Okay.
It's so out there that it would be hard to actually put in the game or do or build, or it'd be a lot of effort. Not hard to do. It'd be a lot of effort for a particular thing. It's a very unique creature, is what the impression I got based on what Tricks Week said.
I mean, they did Broodmother.
Yeah,
They
it's
had
true.
tentacles.
Yeah,
But that's just sexy. That's different.
Depending on who you ask. Jack.
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 No comment. No comment.
That's how I imagine Jack. Just like, that's his dream state. That with baked beans.
Yeah. Oh, we love baked beans.
Yeah, happy thoughts. Gil has tentacles too. That's true.
What was that with tentacles? Gale has, yeah, it's true.
If it can exist in a game because it has tentacles. I mean, Gil has tentacles. Broodmothers have tentacles.
Yeah, it was more the idea that that Sylvia had creative freedom with this creature, and she went out there, and like the idea of maybe there would be limitations to create that in the game. That's the idea that I got from what they were saying. I wish somebody broke down that interview. I should have done it at the time. Oh, well, something else I was thinking about, sorry, just based on the tentacle art, was one of the maps of, what's it called, Dragon Age, Thedas. The Tevinter Nights map has like a tentacle thing near Tevinter as well, and it just shows you all the sea creatures in this world.
Yeah, I think that was Ravane, if I remember
Ravane?
correctly. I think so.
So what's going on there?
Wait, let me actually pull it up.
There's a little dude there. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it's Ravane. Yeah,
Then.
it's Ravane.
So I wonder what's going on with that. Just try and find
I
that
mean,
out.
that's also where the Lords of Fortune are from, and their logo is
A squid
an
thing.
octopus.
Yeah. It's true.
In terms of the story, for Holix, did it say? I mean, this is what confused me, and maybe it's super obvious, and I just, didn't realize it. But they were initially in Minrathous for the monster, correct?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't, and then Dorian just kind of like added to it. So, who or what brought him to Minrathous, especially since it sounds like a place they would normally not go to? So there must have been legends kind of spilling out of Minrathous into Ravane for them to know about it. That's where I'm kind of like confused. Like, how did you even get there? Like, what was that first part? I feel like we're missing.
Yeah. Having around.
I guess it was I don't know, maybe a sense of curiosity, as well as it would pay well. I mean, how much is an Aurum? It doesn't really. I'm not sure how much that is, but I believe the original bounty was 1,000.
Yeah, and apparently Aurum is just Latin for gold, which is cool.
Alright, 1,000 gold then.
I'd be given a tip on where to find information for a job in the city. So it's like, made preparations and changed. So it's like, Holix just came to Minrathous for a job. I suppose that's just a very... I guess maybe that's more just the backstory of a lot of Fortune. They go from shore to shore for treasure, for whatever they can do. So it's kind of just like picking up a side quest on like a bounty board or a notice board and going, yeah, I guess I'll do that from city to city. Or like a side quest is what I feel. But yeah, it doesn't specifically explain why they chose Minrathous or if they came. Well, it just says I'd be given a tip on where to find information for a job in the city. And that's really it.
Yeah.
Back to the story. I waited at an inn that stank of fish until the moon topped, and I made my way to a building, and that's where they go to the Wall of Grace, or the Wall of Grace, whatever it's called, Wicked Grace game. And then Dorian was the one who originally did the note, and then the fact that Holix had forged a note. So yeah, they just came for the job.
I wonder how far a Lord of Fortune is willing to travel for a bounty.
True. Yeah.
I mean,
Because we don't
doesn't
really
appear
hear of them down south.
it doesn't appear like they're bound anywhere, so I guess they just go wherever they get the most
Mhm.
pleasure.
I like the fact that Holic spent 5 years in Magister Ignaldo's fabulous Circus of Ravane, and I'd like to see that, please.
You just want to be
Yes.
part of that.
Yes, I do. Who doesn't want to see a circus in Dragon Age game? In a Dragon Age, can you imagine all the references they could actually make in that? Here lies one clown who
Oh.
waited 10 years for one thing to come out.
Where is that from, Daka? Is that from the week? Oh, Reddit thread. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh. But
So-
where is that information from?
That's what I'm trying to find. I want to do a little bit of fact checking. I'll put the link to the thread so you can, because I don't. It doesn't say that in what we just read, right? Like
No,
it doesn't say that.
No.
The thing it just hints at the most is it could be beyond the veil, which doesn't really hint to the void, but it just says past the veil of our world.
Should we read that to the
Yeah, I'll read it to the chat.
what, to cast a
So in Reddit, somebody had put the Sekirax monster that appears in Tevinter Nights. It has tentacles and several eyes. It is a monster that apparently is not from the physical world or the veil. He is beyond those worlds, and this is where it says theories suggest that he came from the void. If this is true, it opens up a wide range of possibilities. After all, void can be another world and can house several monsters and creatures of its own. Maybe Gil was like, I'm the only one who makes weird shiz around here. Let me fix it. Supposedly Dirthman made the Vatarol. Would he ask Gil to make an augment of their design, or would that be like copyright infringement of Elven of the Ancient Elves?
That's good.
Yeah. I didn't realise that Dirthman made the Vatarol. It looks like the Guardian thing in the Dalish. It begins with a V. That's where it comes from. So people are saying that the original squid monster looks like a Vatarol. And so maybe if the original squid monster looks like a Vatarol, did Gillinan just kind of copy that design and create a squid Vatarol? If it looks similar, which is a good point. What does chat think? Is it a demon or is it a creature from beyond the void? Or is it something else completely different? Is it a Gillinan creation? Any other thoughts on Luck in the Garden, folks?
I don't think so. I like the story.
Yeah.
It's nice. It just makes me think that, well, I mean, we already knew this, or we already suspected it, but it just makes me think that Dorian and Mayfaris will be relevant in the Veilguard. But
For
like
sure.
that's been our theory for ages, so
For sure.
nothing new there.
Yeah, it just shows you that they're going to have some significance. An interesting idea that Biofan had was he thinks that the Lucerne might have been retconned now in terms of its name, because you've got the Shadow Dragons, and he thinks that maybe actually instead of it just being you've got the Lucerne and the Shadow Dragons, he thinks that just to save time and people's energy and save people going through all these 500 factions, that maybe they've just renamed the Lucerne to the Shadow Dragons or made it the Shadow Dragons.
Maybe.
He also
That's
thinks
possible.
the same of the Executors becoming the Veil Jumpers. I don't know about that one, but if you think about it, there's already so many factions anyway, and you've got now, the Lucerne is against slavery in Tevinter, the Shadow Dragons are against slavery in Tevinter, with obviously associations to a character called the Viper and not much else we know about them. It makes sense to combine that and go, yeah, actually the Lucerne became the Shadow Dragons, unless there is a reason for it not to be. For the Executors, I don't think that they are the Veil Jumpers. I think that they're going to have their own thing. But it does make sense from like a casual fan's point of view of, bloody hell, what is the difference? But I do understand why BioWare do the difference at the same time.
Yeah, I would understand if they do that with the Lucerne and the Shadow Dragons.
Yeah.
But I'd be a bit disappointed if they do that for the Veil Jumpers and the
Yeah.
Executors, because I feel like the Executors have been hyped up to be something
sure.
very mysterious and dangerous, because I mean Solos is scared of them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Granted, we don't know a lot about the Veil Jumpers yet, but I don't know what it would be about the Veil Jumpers that terrify Solus so much.
Yeah. I mean, Blair looks so cute and sweet and innocent. I don't think she could terrify anybody. Let's be honest.
And also, spoiler for Dreadwolf Takes Two, I guess. Sorry, but there's an executor in that story, and we have no idea who they are, if they're a male, female.
That's
their
true.
voice doesn't sound like a person's, or it doesn't sound specifically masculine or feminine. So
True.
it's like they're being so mysterious about what the executor could be, that I don't think it would be a Veil Jumper. I don't know, it'd be a bit disappointing if it was.
For sure. I
Wasn't there
Oh no, you go.
wasn't there a prevailing theory out there long ago? I don't know, Jax, it might have been one of yours, where somebody thought that they were reptilian in nature?
Yeah, people.
Or like,
yeah.
real?
Yeah,
I
I've heard,
don't remember where.
Maybe that is it the scaled ones that they're
The
like
scaled
related,
ones,
or
yeah.
that they are the
Yeah.
scaled ones? Maybe.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we also have that, right?
We do.
We don't know
we
what's
do.
up with that yet.
That too.
Yeah.
I
Oh, and that's true, Songbird. The executor smells like brine. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think that the executors aren't the Veil Jumpers, but maybe the executors help operate the Veil Jumpers with some kind of unknown tie. There's definitely a connection. If the executors, maybe it could be the Veil Jumpers don't even realize it, but they use the executors' equipment, like Tevinter's based on ancient Elven artifacts, or there's some kind of tie.
They're also from across the sea.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's
unless
lots
the
of rectangles. Not triangles, sorry.
Yeah, those triangles.
Right, but the Veil Jumpers do have a lot of the triangle symbolism, so there is probably a connection.
There's a connection somewhere, but if it's just misguided, if it's just a red herring, if it's just they use their equipment and the executors are long gone, or I don't know, like that's the thing. And the Veil Jumpers are a brand new faction anyway, like they were recently created. Like you can say the Shadow Dragons has been going along for ages, we don't know that, but what we do know is the Veil Jumpers are actually recently been created, so it could have an unknown tie to them, or it could be operated by somebody like a benefactor or whatever.
Yeah.
Another thing I like, again, we mentioned this when I was reading it, but I like how it describes what Lords of Fortunes wear, just to give you a sense of the faction drip. Colourful sashes, capes, pants, shirts, belts, scarves, charms, and gold jewellery. Privileges of any Lord of Fortune that lasts a year or two. So, assuming Rook has been, well, I think, we don't know how long the faction you'll have been with for, but I assume Rook's going to have been with the Lord of Fortunes for more than a year or two. So it'd be cool to see that. I mean, that just sounds so cool. The kind of rogue, bookish jewelry sense of stuff, and we've seen it in concept art with a guy literally bare-chested walking out with scarves and jewelry. Definitely a Lot of Fortune, and as well as the one that we think looks like Isabella jumping into the water again, jewelry, kind of just very aesthetic, very cool. Pirate.
It gave me the idea that they just kind of accumulate more and more as they go on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
With just as gaudy as possible, and it almost feels like you'll know the station of a Lord of Fortune when they walk into a room. If you compare them to one another, which one is more dripping with gold and wealth?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I get that completely.
They
as well.
wear. Mm-hmm. I love that part.
Oh, same. My Rook is going to be a Lord of Fortune.
Oh, sick! First playthrough.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I hope we are able to collect trinkets from quests somehow.
Yeah. There has to be some dynamic.
I still think the Lord of Fortunes are like the weakest. Like for me, like appeal-wise, they are the weakest faction out of all of the ones we have. I think even the Crows are more interesting.
I mean, probably. I just like the concept of the Lords of Fortune, I guess.
For sure.
I'm not a big fan of pirates, so maybe that's it.
Maybe that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like the concept a lot. Not necessarily. I mean, I think pirates are cool, but not necessarily because of the pirate thing, but mainly because they go collect shinies and they take shinies and they wear their shinies and they go on
So
adventures and stuff.
what you're saying is
Then
you're a magpie.
yes, basically yeah. Um, I was pretty torn between the Lords of Fortune and the Veil Jumpers though.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. But I think it's gonna be a Lord of Fortune. Yeah.
What are you doing, Lucas, for your first playthrough?
Take a guess.
Grey Warden.
Definitely.
That's gonna be a second playthrough for me, I think.
Oh, I don't know about second playthrough
Jack,
for me.
Jack, I'll give you one guess
do.
what my first character is gonna be.
Dwarf.
Yep.
Oh, really? Hey.
Yep.
Dwarven Grey Warden. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing Mornwatch. That's my favourite, easily. I love the lore, the Navaran lore, being besties with Manfred, giving that backstory. But the lore, I love it. I love the undead nature of it all, the gothic fantasy, the gothic fashion sense, the dark fantasy elements of it. Love that stuff. I don't know what it could mean from like a background point of view. Probably a warrior who's really good at talking to the dead. Like treasure hunter, pirate, you got that. Mornwatcher, necromancy, but if he's a warrior, he's not going to know necromancy spells. He'll know how to guide the spirits through the dead, or at least be like a bodyguard or a guard of the tombs, of the crypts, or know how to navigate the labyrinths of the necropolis, stuff like that.
You know, maybe it's because the Lords of Fortune are just like very simple as a faction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go
Yeah.
They're so
they
undefined.
yeah.
It's true.
Maybe
And they
that's
could be
why.
anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like even oh sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I feel like I can have a lot of creative freedom there.
Yeah.
Because they also seem more individualistic as well. They're not so much a guild.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah.
They're more of a community. Who knows who? Like we see you in the tavern sometime, but you know, I'm gonna take this bounty before you. There might be more competition with
Yeah.
it. I don't know. Crows
Yeah.
could have competition too, though.
For sure. It definitely is more individualistic. I like that word for it. It definitely seems that way. It's like, yeah, we care about each other. We have a code of conduct or honor or whatever, but equally we're all trying to make our own way and scavenge and treasure hunt and get to each other's bounties before. I get that vibe for sure.
Yeah, so I guess if you're not really into that concept, I can understand why they might seem a bit like boring or bland.
Yeah.
And also because we don't really know that much about them.
We don't
At all, really.
They're probably the ones we least. Well, we don't know anything about them. There was that release trailer where we did see what I assume to be Tash with the Lords of Fortunes.
Yeah, but even
don't
that
know.
confirms what we already knew. They hunt
Yeah,
monsters and they collect
literally.
trinkets.
And they're hunting dragons in that scene in a location that's really dark that could be anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't tell us anything. Like, whereas at least the Shadow Dragons, we know that they have a leader called the Viper, potentially. We know that there's going to be ties with Dorian and Maveris. Nev literally said, or Varric literally said something about, he hinted at Dorian introducing him to Nev or the Shadow Dragons. He said something like that, I can't remember. And there are, there are many plot lines in Minrathous that can connect you to the Shadow Dragons. To then the Grey Wardens, I mean, come on, there's so many things that connect into the Grey Wardens. Weishaupt, the Order in the South, characters like, dare I say, the hero of Ferelden, but Alistair, the Warden that you save from the Fade, or is now in Weishaupt, even Hawk, so many things. To then the Mornwatch, heavy in lore, we still haven't met them yet. We don't really have a good representation of them just yet, but still like death magic, necromancy, gothic fashion sense. Veil Jumpers, Triangles, Elven Magics, Alaphan, like Lords of Fortune, but at the same time more communal.
Yeah.
Actually are more of a family approach, at least in what I'm picking up on. They are a faction, because they literally venture out into the dangers of the Alaphan Forest for artifacts. However, it's less seeking glory. There is a bit of that thrill, but it's more about discovering the natures of ancient magics and the Elven Empire. And then what's the other faction that I always forget? There's one. There's one that I haven't. Antifa Cross. I mean, Antivan Crows, we know so many about the Antivan. We know so much about the Crows. You don't even need to explain that. Assassins, literally. So I love the variation. But yeah, for the Lords of Fortune, they don't have as much lore about them, and we've never met them before. Yes, we haven't met the Shadow Dragons before, but it's very easy to tie that in. And the Veiljumpers are a new faction, but we still know loads about them already. But Lords of Fortune is very different. Very interesting for Dragon Age, and I love that direction, to be honest. I do hope
I also
that we see Isabella, though. That's one thing.
yes. I also think that in terms of factions, like if you compare them all and their relation to the plot
Yeah.
of what's going to happen in the next game, it sort of feels like the Lord of Fortunes have the least
Yes,
amount
it's true.
of
Yeah.
draw to
Agreed.
be,
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
than they hunting the dragon forms of maybe,
Yeah.
you know, us two besties coming from the Fade. But other than that, they don't really need to be there. Or if they're hunting all the monsters that Gillenon releases, I mean, that
True.
could bring them in. Like,
That
I'm
could-
wondering,
yeah.
what is the tie? Why
It's true.
why
Yeah.
is it Lord of Fortune in Minrathous at that time? Why?
It's true. It's
Agreed.
true. I agree
Yeah.
too. Like, are they just seeking glory and they're like, yeah, we'll hunt the Eggman because of glory? Like, we need a bigger reason than that. I get it. You could create your own, but like a Shadow Dragon is in Minrathous because they're looking after their own hometown. They're interested in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They're interested in sorry, they're against slavery, but they're interested in also saving their own home country from a ritual that is going to destroy it all. And you can make the case for a lot of those things, but for a lot of Fortune, maybe they were hunting a certain relic, and that has tied them to this plot. But that's very MacGuffin-y, and I don't really like that. Because you could be like, oh, well, they were hunting the Red Lyrium Idol, and that's why they're tied to this, and now they're going to finish the job. I mean, it's a good way for them. Oh, yeah, then they caused the ritual. I guess so. But you've got a lot more reasoning of the other factions. It'd be good. That's something that's definitely I'm interested in. And I do hope there's a bit of that in like the character creator. You as a Lord of Fortune did like a little bit of a backstory before you then go, cool. But yeah,
I imagine we'll get something like that.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. And I think the rest of that will become clear as we play through the game.
Yeah, because you get to define it. You actually get
Yeah.
to define it, actually. I forgot that. They've said that this time around, you get to define your backstory through Rook's actions and dialogue. So you could say. But still, I would like there to be more. I mean, that's the thing. What can connect them to the plot? Besides treasure, wealth, monster hunting, as Emily pointed out. Certain artifacts and relics. That's similar to the Veiljumpers. Other than that, I don't have a clue.
I imagine there will also be a reason for Varric to recruit us, or an explanation of how he found us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, for sure.
we didn't see that in the gameplay review.
No. There is that opening tavern scene where he recruits you or he talks to you about
Or
finding Nev.
maybe that's established like during the character creator as we pick
Yeah.
our world state.
Yeah.
Because I
yeah.
believe it's narrated by Varric, so maybe after you do that, he'll go into the moment where he met Rook.
For sure. Yeah. That'll be
This conversation also reminded me of something else. So I have a question. Right. I think, if I remember correctly, the devs have said that we have our companions, they represent their faction, but each of the factions will also have another representative. So
yeah.
for the Crows, there'll likely be Viago and Thea.
For sure.
And then we have Myrna and someone else.
Audric.
What was his name? Audric. Right.
Yeah.
For the Mornwatch.
Strife and Irulan for the Veiljumpers.
Strife, yeah. And then FK and Antoine for the Wardens.
Yeah.
But who would it be for the Lords of Fortune?
I love this. I love this question. And then Maeve and Dorian for the Shadow Dragons, potentially.
For the Shadow Dragons. Did I get all the factions now?
And then I think that's all of them. Grey Wardens, Veiljumpers, Mornwatch,
Crows.
Shadow Dragons. Yeah, you did. Yeah, so who? Yeah, it's a good question. I like that. Isabella, and who? Who else is Ravani that we know? It must be, or is it somebody new? No, Mateo's in this, but Mateo's a tiny character. Holix.
There's Holix. There's also Barv, I believe.
Barv, the
a dwarf.
Dwarven. Yeah.
Those are the people
it's
in.
It's like 3 Lords of Fortunes, like Barv, Mateo, and Holix.
Is there anyone in the trailer that we haven't identified that could possibly? I mean, If it's Holox, it's going to be very hard because obviously they
They could be
disguise
anybody.
themselves a lot.
Yeah. If I bring up the shot, I'll bring up the shot and I'll post it in this as well, of what we assume to be the Lords of Fortunes. We can try and zoom in on some figures. Where is it? Saved pictures.
I mean, this shot with Tash. Or, does it only show Tash in
It
that,
shows Tash
in that
walking.
scene?
iCity Catty just said, Liz just in Bioware posted that that Veilguard has a photo mode.
Thank God.
If
yeah.
that is a tweet, is it still up or did they
Yeah.
delete it? Because I read somewhere they deleted it.
Yeah, yeah, I did see that too. So there's a picture of that. Here it is. I'll post it in the chat first. So we've got this. Oh, that's a good idea. That Mizzy could be the little girl in the Davin trailer. Is that So if you pick on that, you can see that there's Tash. There is, and these are what we assume the Lords of Fortune look like. Or are they the Lords of Fortune? There's Rook, and then you have an armoured figure, and then you have a woman with a great sword.
That's very hard to see.
Or are they
That kind of makes it look like that's only Rook and Tash as far as companions go. Like it's just the two of you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Unless the Grey Warden ahead of them. What were you gonna say, Lucas?
I think it's just like it's Rook and Tash, and then the other two are probably escorting you.
Yeah. Are they Grey
I like the
Wardens,
idea
or
of
are they
doing
Lords
little
of
quests with just one of them rather than everyone together all the time.
Wait 1 second. Who is this figure? I'll post it. Who is this dude? And are their flags Grey Wardens? No.
I have no idea.
It's not the It's not the Lords of Fortune flag. That's the thing.
I mean, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
It could just be
it's just
generic
the blue,
guards.
The blue though looks to me like it could be.
I'll put my glasses back on.
Or is it?
It doesn't look like wardens. There's not enough like griffin.
No. And the hats
Symbols.
too. They look like they got feathered little hats on. Yeah.
Anyway,
Could
I have
just
to
be
head off.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lucas, for
for-
joining. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. See you probably next week.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're down for one. Yeah.
Lucas, you were amazing as Dorian.
Thank you.
Yes, you were fantastic,
You're welcome.
Dorian. You were brilliant.
I channeled a coworker of mine who reminds me of him.
I'm glad to hear it.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank
See
you,
you later.
Lucas.
Bye.
So I see this tweet where it says the game has gamer, but it says this tweet has been deleted. I'll have a look at
Yeah.
the tweet. There. People telling me on Twitter if I think Bioware is stupid enough to kill Varric. I mean, they were gonna kill him in a DLC.
What?
So yeah, somebody's.
I don't. Okay. Sorry, Jack. I don't think it's stupid if they kill Varric.
No, I don't think it's stupid. Somebody on Twitter saying that to me. I don't think it's stupid.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
know. I know. I said sorry because I know
sorry.
you really want Varric to live.
But I don't think it's stupid if they want I don't think it's a stupid decision either if it's done well. Basically, Bioware is a carrot and a stick for the fandom, and if they kill the carrot, we might riot. But they were going to kill him in a DLC though, so it's not stupid. It's not a matter of being stupid. It's a matter of being.
It'll be impactful.
Ballsy, just and ballsy move.
Like I've been saying if he gets a good send off, a heroic sacrifice, something satisfying, then I'll be okay with him dying.
Yeah,
Like it'll hurt,
Same.
but it's the ending. He deserves to go out with a bang.
As long as he's gone out with a bang, it's fine. But it's at the same time,
I will cry.
Yeah, I'll
But-
cry. But I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I was gonna cry
Yeah.
in the gameplay preview anyway. I was already
And then
dying.
not just pick somebody else to kill off. Why does it have to be Varric?
Because it will inflict the most pain.
If it's not
And then
Varric, it might
when
be
I first-
Solus
when
or
I first-
Llewellyn.
Oh no!
What if
Oh no!
Varric and Solus
I-
die together?
Oh, you stop it!
Absolutely
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So Llewellyn will die together.
Oh my
I-
god, Lisa!
Bring it.
Lisa.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I actually hate this as well. I'm a Soul Llewellyn, so yeah, I
Would you
should go
speak
wash
of
my
the
mouth.
angst though, wouldn't it?
Llewellyn's gonna
Yeah, true.
Llewellyn's definitely gonna die and Solus is gonna live.
Jack.
No. No.
No happy ending. No. No.
I
Well,
think
but
Eclipse
you know
said,
what?
who would you rather they killed?
My Llewellyn.
Actually, yeah, I agree.
What? After everything
No, sorry, I can't. No. Look, I am prepared for Solus to die, okay? I hate it, but I'm prepared for it. I am not
Oh,
prepared
no.
for my Llewellyn to die.
I'm not prepared for
I am
Solus to
not.
die. I don't want anything to ever happen to him, ever, ever, ever. Or Varric. Or Llewellyn. Leave
I mean,
They're all gonna
Spoiler
die
alert.
together.
be happy.
But-
Together.
I've
No
already
happiness.
killed her once. So.
No happiness.
Well, I haven't. I can't.
I need to get a shot of egg. Where's egg?
If you actually had to choose, though, between Solus or Varric, what if that's a decision in the game?
I would
no,
let.
I hate it.
I'd let Solus
Oh
live.
no.
Oh.
Oh well.
You know,
Hmm.
hot.
I'm
Is that
already
gonna
ready for
be
Varric
the
to
Hawk
die.
versus Alistair choice in this
Oh.
game? I don't know.
Oh, I think that'll be a worse one. Yeah, I think they're gonna double down on Hawk versus Alistair choices. Solas versus Solas or Varric, or
No.
Solas or
Oh.
Llewellyn.
No.
Well, no.
No.
Oh, idea. Person who drinks from the Well of Sorrows becomes the next vessel of Mafal, regardless of what's going on with Morrigan. Meaning that Morrigan or the Inquisitor is going to be the next vessel of Mafal. Meaning you have to choose between which one you have to kill. If you drank from the
No.
well, you have Morrigan.
No.
If you drank from the well, you got the Inquisitor. Can you imagine that? They've done it with Hawk. I would love it. I would love it.
I mean, same, but I would also hate it.
Like, you're going in for
no.
your soul level in first playthrough, everything's going really well, and then your Inquisitor comes in, and it's like, oh, I'm going to redeem Solus, yay! And it's like, oh, by the way, transformation, I'm the vessel of Mafal, bitch,
Well,
dead.
actually, Morgan drank from the well in my canon,
Oh,
so
okay. You
it still
be,
really sucks because I really like Morgan.
You could be okay.
I'm doing my canon playthrough right now, and I haven't done that bit yet, but you've just made my mind up for me. Morrigan again.
I mean, she
Llewellyn,
wants
back
it.
away.
She really wants it. So my Inquisitor
Yeah,
is
she
like, you know
does.
what? You can have it. You
She
can
I kind
have
of
really
see it
does
as
want it.
this is Morrigan's destiny, you know, but the Inquisitor, it was just a complete accident. That
It's
poor thing.
true. It's
Yeah.
true. It's like, yeah, I'll drink it for a pet
All
dragon.
she wanted to know was what's going on here,
Yeah.
and then look what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like I just wanted a pet. When I don't want right, one beef. You ready for my big hot take? Why come
Yes.
let's
how
go.
come Morrigan can transform into a dragon but the Inquisitor can't? What was the reasoning for that?
Because
don't
Morgan
you
is a
know-
shapeshifter.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's
The
fair.
Inquisitor's not.
Lisa's like,
Specific type of-
next.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just seems like the most
Yeah.
logical answer to me.
Yeah.
Also, she's Flemeth's daughter, so
She
you know.
would- Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But I think the Inquisitor can ask Morrigan, can't they, how to turn into a dragon or how to shapeshift? And I think she answers and says something that it's a very specific magic that has to be either passed down or learned.
She
It's not something
does-
she can just, take
Yes.
Saturday off and teach you.
She does say that, yes. I wish she would take Saturday off and teach me.
They're like, there's a reason for it that
If
not everyone
Morrigan
can
drank
do it.
from the well, she gains the ability to shapeshift into a dragon. So she only
Yes.
gets that ability when she drinks from the. Oh,
She gets
okay.
her dragon
Sorry,
form
I'm with you now, yeah,
specifically from her well. But
But
she
then
can
what-
turn into other things.
Yeah, like a spider. Villainous Kitty says, I never thought I'd have to say this, but I'm putting the tinfoil down. Because Morrigan is a badass mofo.
She is. She is.
It's true, she is. That makes sense then. But if the Inquisitor or Morrigan were to have the drink from the well, and they are willingly bound to Mafal, meaning that they're willing to be possessed because they've willingly drunk from the well, that makes sense to be possessed by Mafal or be the next vessel, in my opinion. I reckon. It's like, well, you willingly did it. Like, Morrigan can't be like, I do not accept this gift. Yeah, but you drank from the well, love. Like, you know, that's what you did. You did that. You did that.
You gave yourself into the service of an ancient elven god. What do you expect?
Exactly.
That makes sense. I recorded my breakdown of the trailer recently, and I just completely forgot about the Well of Sorrow. Well, I didn't, but I completely forgot to make that link. I didn't link those two. Like, oh, if you drank from the well, you basically agree to be in the vessel because you drank from it. I didn't. Yeah. Well,
it's a theory that's kind of like, oh shit, yeah, but it's like, well, regardless, that's the thing. Like, for my direction of the Morrigan Mafal vessel thing was more so the Kieran thing of maybe she's going to be forcibly made to choose her son over herself. Sorry, choose herself to become her own body to become the next vessel. Besides Mafal taking Kieran, so it's more like a mother sacrificing herself for her own son. Something that Morrigan would absolutely do, and something that Trix and a lot of Dragon Age writers can relate to having their own families. The idea that nothing is stronger than blood and family, and the kind of almost subverting what Flemeth has done, where she's just possessed the daughters of her children. Morrigan taking that role of, actually, I'm not going to let you take my son. You can have me instead. But actually, there's the other dimension of obviously people who don't have the Old God Soul, or people who don't have Kieran, or even not as an Old God Soul, just a kid. A lot of people don't have Kieran. So it's like, well, what's another way where Morrigan would, Flemeth Mafal would absolutely be able to possess Morrigan? Oh, it's by drinking from the Well of Sorrows. Now, if you didn't drink from the Well of Sorrows, or if Morrigan didn't drink from the Well of Sorrows, and if you didn't have Kieran, that's the world states where it gets tricky. And that's the thing, I think that could actually be a canon world state too. It's not canon for Kieran to exist. I believe the canon state is that the hero of Ferelden died, and Alistair became king. So there's your Old God Soul or your Kieran not happening. And then I believe, we don't know the Inquisition one, I don't think, but I don't think it would be canon that Morrigan drank, or it would be maybe that one's canon. I don't know. Either way, there's still a world state where Morrigan cannot be willing to Mafal, or in a state to be willing. So I do wonder how they're going to wrap that one up, and make it so if she absolutely is carrying Mafal, or if that's why there is nuance and why there is room for it to be like, well, actually, the Inquisitor who drank from the well now carries Mafal instead, because they were willing and they drank from it and they're bound to her. So it's an interesting thing they could do.
But didn't the devs say recently? Oh my god! I hope they did. I hope I'm not just spreading misinformation. That there was no more canon world state. They were done with that. Like for them, like there's no specific state. Didn't they say something like that recently?
Did they?
It does ring a bell, but let me think. Because I think it might have been during the Q&A. Someone asked a question. Nah, I'm not sure if it was during the Q&A, but someone asked a question somewhere regarding the canon, and I think they answered something along the lines of, like, this is your story, so the canon is not really important because it's the story is what you make it. It was something along those lines, but might have been on the just a Discord chat, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, is that why they've done away with the keep, and they will have only selected certain key events in the character creator in Veilguard? So they're sort of almost disregarding.
They disregard.
I mean, yeah.
But parts of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's finding a way where they're going to codify it based on Inquisition's choices, which would be, did Morrigan have a son, or did she drink from the well? We're at least going to have some choices based on previous games. We don't know to what extent, which is the thing. So I reckon, based on those choices, is going to be the way where it's going to be codified. It just depends on the way they go about it.
They did say that the thing with Hawk being in the Fate that wasn't relevant in Veilguard.
Yes, they did. Which
Yeah.
is interesting because, yeah, they said that is not going to be answered. Interesting, though,
Yeah, that's what it
because,
was.
like, what I didn't realize until recently, talking to Biofan, is Hawk can absolutely be in Weishaupt. So, like, Hawk, Alistair, Loghain, or Shroud could absolutely be in Dragon Age: The Veilguard in Weishaupt, hanging about. Yes, it was 8 or 10 years ago now, but that was what they were doing. They were going to Weishaupt, hanging about.
Well, maybe, because I'd have to pull up the exact question to like read what exactly the wording was, but I believe it was specifically about Hawk being left in the
Yeah,
Fade, and that
yeah.
what happens to them in the Fade won't be answered. But that doesn't mean that if a Hawk is alive or whoever is alive, that
It's
we
true.
don't see what
Yeah.
happens to them. I think this was just specifically
the
the
Fade.
person that was left in the Fade.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But it's interesting that we might get one of those answered, just not the other one. So it's like the
Yeah.
Hawk one might come out in Dragon Age 5, but the Warden one we assume is gonna be an occurrence in Dragon Age Veilguard, because we're going to Weishaupt. Again, assumptions, because Hawk might be like, yeah, I went to Hawk, Alistair, Loghain, or the Ward, or whatever, the Warden or Hawk, not the hero Ferelden, the Warden from Inquisition, may have gone, yeah, I went to Weishaupt, but actually I got bored, or they didn't really need me, or they didn't let me go, so I'm not actually relevant anymore. But it is still very interesting that's where he chose to go, regardless, at least 10 years ago, and so we're just going to have to see if they're still going to be there, and if that's going to have an implication. Can you imagine, though, like, starting up the Veilguard and you have to create 3 characters straight away? Hawk, Inquisitor, and then
Oh
Rook.
my god. I need the entire day at that point for just the character creator.
It's like, what? It's like, bloody hell.
Waxy said, I think it just means that the person in the Fade is gone.
No.
It's possible, yeah.
It is
Can you imagine if you make that choice and say, right, Hawk can hold their own, you stay in the Fade, you've got this, and you don't realise that you just killed off Hawk.
Yeah, it's true. And the thing is, I think most people would choose Shroud in that. I've never had Shroud.
I did.
Most people would
I
have
changed
Shroud.
my
And go,
canon
yeah,
for
of
that.
course. But he needs a return to epicness moment, because that character had no return to glory ever. He needs to come out of the Fade like glorious and victorious. Otherwise, like, yeah.
Nah, he exists to be sacrificed.
I
Sorry.
envy you, because I had Alistair or Hawk on my first playthrough.
I did as well.
Oh,
I
you?
did as well.
Yeah.
I changed. I'm weak. I changed my canon.
What did you change it to?
I made Alistair king because he stayed a warden in my playthrough, because my
Oh.
warden romanced Alistair, and I thought them being wardens together would be like a better end for their story. I think I think Alistair is happier with the wardens.
Yeah.
So them being together in the wardens would be cute.
Yeah.
But well, then I got to Inquisition, and I had to think a very long time about it, but I ended up making him a king anyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to die, and I also don't want my Hawk to die. So
No. Understandable.
sorry, Stroud.
He is unfortunately quite expendable, isn't he?
It's very. It's like
Yep.
Hawk or this random Grey Warden that I don't care about. I wonder.
He does have an incredible moustache, though.
He does. That is true. It is true.
I did like Stroud. He was great.
He was,
But
yeah.
He doesn't compare, though, does he?
No.
It doesn't compare. No, nothing compares to Hawk. In the words of Sinead O'Connor. What other cameos do we all think we'll see from previous games?
Mm,
Now that,
well,
like,
think.
I was
don't know.
not massively surprised by Morrigan, but I was surprised that we've seen her in a trailer. I'm like, shit, that's mint. Like, I thought
What about Liliana?
Divine. I think the Divine. Yeah, I reckon anyone who's Divine. could come
Liliana.
back.
Even if she isn't divine, because at least from what we gather from the final cutscene in Trespasser, she's still there working with the Inquisitor and Harding.
True.
So,
True.
and so is Cassandra, I think. Or was she not? Am I misremembering? But Liliana was there for sure. Sorry?
Cassandra, didn't she go and rebuild the Seekers?
She does, yeah. If she's not divine, what does Liliana do if she is not divine? Because I've never had a world state where she is not divine.
I actually
No,
can't
me neither.
remember. I can't remember either.
She does
but
breed nugs.
She does, yeah.
She does do that.
But I'd imagine if she's still working with the Inquisition, whether it's disbanded or not, I feel like she might show up at some point, or maybe we'll hear from her through a letter or something.
Mm. I'd love
Maybe
to see
Meryl?
her back. Ooh, Meryl.
Meryl will be good. I could
Meryl
see
would
her
make a lot of
on the
sense.
other side of things, though.
So, people in our chat are saying Shale, and that we won't see Shale because the voice actor passed away, but that was the voice actor for Shale when she was still a golem.
Yeah.
But if she's a dwarf,
Oh, that's a good shout, that Lisa.
Oh, yes, Sandal.
Fenris. Fenris would be brilliant.
Sutherland, yes, that'd be great.
I don't think I have a massive number one who I'd love. I'm excited to see Mafal. In what capacity, though, I don't know. I just want to hear Kate Mulgrew's voice again, but I don't know if that's going to happen if Morrigan is the vessel. I reckon that it'll be Claudia Black now, but I just love Kate Mulgrew's voice, just the iconicness of it.
Same.
So I'd love to, but I don't know how that would work. Returning, I mean, besides the Inquisitor, besides Dorian, besides Morrigan, Sten would be good to see. I'd like to see Alistair again, but I know it's so many fragments of world states now, and he's been here for 3 games. But I did love him. And again, we already just said how he could. Say that again?
Dagna.
Dagna would be brilliant, and she was in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dagna would be great. Fenris, Zevran, yeah. But yeah, potentially.
Like, I have wishes of cameos, but I'm not really sure if I think they're gonna be in it.
Yeah.
Apart from Dorian, Mayvarius, and like the obvious one.
The ones that have been introduced in comics and books and have still been in there, so it's not like it's a crazy thing. Like Morrigan, we kind of knew Morrigan would be in it because it's Morrigan. She's the inheritor of the next age. If she wasn't going to be in this one, she was going to be in the next one. Yeah, there's nobody massively that I'm like Sten wouldn't be. It makes sense, but also I'm not surprised because we're going into a new continent of a new direction. Fair dues in the previous games, it was fairly easy because we're still in Ferelden, or we're still we're going a little bit west of Ferelden, but we are now literally going to a brand new continent and countries. Isabella, I'd love that. That would be great. Isabella could see it happening. Would love it to happen, but will it happen? I don't know. I would love it to happen though.
Oh, Cole.
Oh, I'd love to see Cole. Oh, I'd love that. I would love that. Oh. He would be too hard because he's either a human or a spirit. It'd be quite fairly easy.
Yeah. And I feel like he would be, in a way, drawn to Solus's ritual. Either or, because he'd be wanting to help.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
So he would.
Oh,
I'd like to
Solus
imagine.
can progress.
I would love
Yeah,
that.
I'd like to imagine that if he's still a spirit, he watches over Solus from the Fade somehow.
Oh, imagine if he finds him in the Fade when Solus gets trapped there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, at least he'll have someone to talk to, other than Rook.
True.
Oh, that just gave me the warm and fuzzies.
I mean, he does communicate with Cole, like, well, I don't know if it's telepathically, but at the end of Inquisition, the base game, after the party, and I'm not sure if that's after or before the credits. I think it's after credits. You can go back and continue playing the game.
Yeah.
If you go back to Cole and talk to him for the first time after the credits or after the party, I think he's describing how he's either talking to Solus and Solus like cuts him off, or he's trying to help Solus. I don't remember what he says exactly, but
doesn't Solus
I know what you're talking about.
through him?
or he's talking through. Yeah, he's talking through Cole. You might be right. Yeah. So, maybe it's not too far fetched.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. And it will be
Maybe
lovely.
Spirit is inside the lighthouse. He's just hanging there.
Oh.
No.
He's just vibing.
I just want Cole.
Solus has adopted him.
The question is, what does the Nug King have to do with all of this?
Yes, indeed.
Was it someone said Liliana works with the Nug King confirmed or something like that?
Yeah. Villainous kitty.
Yeah. How likely do we think it is that we would see any of our advisors again?
Not Cullen. He's not
No,
coming. He's not coming
Cullen
back.
probably
Apparently,
not.
According to Biofan, he's not coming back, and he doesn't need to. Josephine, I would die. I would die. My Inquisitor needs to be with Josephine.
I imagine we'll get
yeah.
a reference to Josie though.
Yeah.
Same with Cass.
I mean, we just did in flipping the book we just read.
Yeah,
what's it called?
Josephine got mentioned, didn't she?
Yeah.
She did, yeah.
Dorian got wine from the Montelier. So, yeah.
I would do anything to see Cassandra again.
Oh, I completely forgot about Cassandra. Yes.
Out of the three, I think Liliana's probably the most likely, but
Yeah.
I guess it also depends on if you're Inquisitor romance time, because surely there'll be a reference to who you romance, right? I imagine.
They
This
usually
might
do
be
in the game,
controversial,
don't they? Oh, go on.
but I would love to see Vivian again.
Oh, I like Vivian.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
love
don't
Vivian.
come for me.
I'm inside Solas's ear hole right now.
My stream is
Lovely.
lagged behind you, and currently I'm just watching you zoom in on his nose.
Same.
Oh, look at those lips. I love those lips.
We're inside. Yeah, I'm going inside his lips.
I want my rook to kiss those lips.
Go inside his ears, his eyes.
Does anybody even remotely entertain the idea of Soul Rook?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
I think I'm in the
Maybe on the
minority here.
second.
I'm a diehard solo villain.
I mean,
I'm-
yes, you can be both.
It could be
You
both.
can lean
I'm
both ways.
solo villain, ride or die,
guess.
but I want to do a playthrough without solar villain.
That yeah. In
Yeah.
a world state where
Mm.
my Solus is not romanced by my Inquisitor, that'd be cool.
Just the
City
angst and
Katie
the
says,
drama and the
listen
problem.
up. Uh-oh. Where do you stand on the blue or violet eyes debate? Or is that the-
Violet. Sorry.
Violet.
Violet, eh?
There is no debate.
There's no. Clearly, everybody's answered for me. I City Carly, Katie, however you say it. It is Violet, apparently.
Yes. I do think it's cool that we can actually see his eye color now.
Yeah,
Like,
Blunder's
properly.
cute. Yeah, it's true. Fairwing, why won't Bioware work with Freddie Prinze Jr. anymore? What happened? I know they won't work with Collins for reasons, but I don't know about Freddie Prinze Jr.
If I remember correctly, he had he made a really weird comment about Krem's character.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know.
It
I
was-
didn't know that. I didn't. Like, I don't want any of the controversy. I just kind of want the TLDR, but I didn't realize like that's what Freddie had done. Damn.
It was something that I think it was something that happened on Twitter. But I don't have the details, so
Yeah.
don't quote me on
No,
that. But
yeah, no, flipping heck. I didn't realize. Didn't realize that in the slightest. It's a shame because Iron Bull would be brilliant to bring back, going to
he's
Tevinter and Dorian, and if he's in a romance with Dorian.
I mean, there might be a mention.
Yeah. Damn, I didn't realize. Can we all just enjoy Rook's PJs, please? The thing about the PJs in the trailer is they look like Grey Warden PJs. So is it faction based? Am I the only one that sees that? If I send I'll put a picture in.
The stream is behind, so I.
Oh no, I'll just post a picture as well. Because it's blue with those undertones. Is it just me? Maybe it's like in Andromeda you
Oh.
can dye it, but it kind of looks like it could be Grey Warden-y. With the colours.
It might be faction related.
I reckon PJs will be. I reckon. I can't find the picture.
I can see it on stream now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it took me that long to get it. I reckon they will be. I reckon they will be.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see this being Grey Warden.
Mm.
Misha says the factions are close-based. Look at the belt. That's a sick belt. You got this, yeah.
I wonder what the
See.
Antivan Crow PJs would look like.
Yeah.
Oh, surely they'd look very
All the
fancy.
Morn
Yeah.
Watcher ones. Lords of Fortune would be gold. I wonder if it's the same PJs and it's just different colours, or what have you.
I bet the Lords of Fortune PJs are just like a bunch of different clothes just stitched together. Whatever they could find, they picked up.
Yeah, yeah.
My stream must be really behind. I don't see pajamas.
They're the blue outfit for Rook.
I just see Solus.
So
As you
if
should. As you should.
if you go where the mute button is for the sound, like right beside that, there's a thingy that says live, and if you click on it, if there's a dot beside it, if that's red, you're caught up, and if it's white, you're behind. If you click on it, it should catch you up.
I love watching Jack just go through different pictures and zoom
I'm on
in
my
and out and
phone.
in and out.
Yeah.
I've got to that hour.
What'd you
try on
say,
my
Emily?
computer. I was looking at the stream on my phone because my other computer failed me.
Oh no.
So let me try the computer again. No, it's still really why.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
refreshing-
I can go look at it later.
Okay.
It's okay.
Look at these
Jack, you
dudes.
could do this
I-
forever, couldn't you?
Yeah. I could- Look at these dudes over here. Look at these darkspawn. Like, nah.
All I can see is a wolf statue
Oh yeah.
No.
and a dead
on.
gill. Dead gill.
Oh,
now.
there. Is that Mizzy?
Yeah. It could. Ooh. It could be.
It could very well be.
Just zooming in on the dog spawn.
Yeah, I do that quite a bit.
Mizzy, is that you?
If you close your eyes, it kind of looks like Missy. Those darkspawn. Yeah. If you squint real hard, yeah.
Oh, it's true. Oh, we got a son.
I still see the darkspawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did stay. I did hang out for a while on those dudes. Any final thoughts? Any final questions, chat or folks here?
Did you actually answer City Cat's question about the eyes color debate?
I
Yeah.
let Lisa and you both reply for me. Violet.
Team Violet.
Team Violet.
Yeah.
Team Edward or Team Cullen?
Neither.
Are they not the same team?
Did not watch
Wait,
Twilight.
I didn't even realize. That shows you how much I know. That's the same team. It's the
Team
same.
Edward or Team Edward?
Wait, what's he called?
Jacob.
Jacob. Well, you know whose team I'm on.
Edward.
Uh, neither.
I did think it's cool that they mentioned the events of the Wigmaker, the
Yes.
Wigmaker job.
Yeah.
Because when you
That's
first
cool.
read that, you're like, what's going on there? You don't know. Because I read it, I was like,
Mm.
Amberos Forfex, yeah, no clue who he is. And then plot thickens. We find out what happens to him soon.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I like that. It's nice. It's cool that Magister Zara Renata's one of her Venatori assistants is the sister of Eramond of Varantium as well, which is another little tie that if you don't know, you don't know. But if you realise that, oh shit, that's Eramond's sister, it's really cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Who's his sister?
So Eramond of Varantium has a sister who's not in this story, but she's in the Wigmaker job, but she is against Lucanus Della Morte, and she's with Zara Magister Renata, who we'll find out soon, who's a blood mage who hates Lucanus, and I think she's in the new release trailer, but she
Yeah.
is buddies with, I can't remember what Livius Eramond's sister's called, but she's basically Ermin's sisters in a Tevinter Nights story who could definitely be in the Veilguard as an evil Venatori, also hellbound after Lucanus. Which I think is a fun little connection as well. It's the tiny little things that I like. It's like, ooh, you didn't know that, you don't know it, but if you find out, it's like, ooh. Felicia, thank you, Misha. Felicia Felicia Ermond of Rantum. Yeah, Livius Ermond. Felicia Ermond, that's the one. Which is cool.
Yeah, I don't get any references because I haven't read Tevinter Nights, so I'm just finding out week by week.
Hell yeah. Well, next week, on that note, is Hunger. I'll get it up if I stop looking at people's eyes and faces. Next week is Hunger, which is about two Grey Wardens going into the Anderfells. And I will leave it at that. It's good. I'll divvy up how many characters there are and sort that out. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a good Grey Warden tale. That it's going to introduce two brand new Grey Wardens who are definitely going to be in the Veilguard. I can say that unashamedly because they're definitely going to be in it. I say that because I'm pretty sure they were in a leak.
I think I saw one of them in the trailer.
Did you? Oh, show me. Oh, show me, Lisa.
Sure. Go to the shot in the mountains where you see the impaled Gillenon.
Sure.
And then, the stream is behind, but it's when the Grey Wardens get blasted by the purple shockwave. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's F.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You are right. Oh, you're right. You are spot on because the one with the hair and the warhammer.
Yeah. It's mainly because
Defo Zevka. Let me chat before you disappear. Chat. Chat. Don't go. Don't disappear. Also,
that just reminded me of something.
What did it remind you of?
No, I mean, you go first because this will come after.
I was just saying, Aola says thank you to everybody for doing the voiceovers tonight. They were fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Evka's in issue 1. Here she is. Yeah, Lisa, you're spot on. You are spot on. Once the picture loads up.
It was the hair that gave it away for me.
Yeah. Definitely. And then do we see any weapons that she uses in the missing?
The hammer. Well, it's
she's got a sword.
Not in the missing. It's in the image for the short story that she's in.
Oh, the image of the short story. Yeah, spot on, Lisa. Evka Ivo is confirmed for the Veilguard. Nice find, Lisa. Nice find.
So she's one of the Grey Wardens from Hunger.
Yeah, she's in Hunger, and she's in a Dragon Age Day short story, and she's also in Dragon Age: The Missing. She's actually one of the characters who's got 2 short stories, as well as then a comic. So similar to Tia and Andratia and Viago, and I think that's it. They've got the most context so far. No, actually, sorry, Evka got 2 short stories. 2 Dragon Age Day short stories, a Tevinter Nights story, a Dragon Age Missing, and then is also in Dragon Age The Missing. So she has the most content out of a character so far for the Veilguard. Literally, a new character.
It must be super important in Veilguard then.
Literally, we get her origin story of how she became a warden, or at least how she survived a certain sequence with a spirit of perseverance. Then we get her journey as a Grey Warden 3 years in, and then we get her romance arc, and then we get her journey following that with her partner meeting Varric. It's bloody hell, she has... I need to make a video just on her, but she's got a shit ton of content.
Ooh, I'm
and
very excited.
She's an Ozamar dwarf too, which is cool. So she's actually, I believe she is. Do you know that, Lisa? She's an Ozamar dwarf?
No, I'm not sure. I would have to look that up.
I will tell you in 2 seconds. Because I made a big video breaking down every single Tevinter Nights character and their short stories ages ago. Evka. I can tell you. And I see her warhammer in the trailer. Spot on.
Ah,
Lisa.
yeah, she is originally from Orzammar. Yeah.
Sound. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, which is cool. We at least, you know, is she going to take us there? I don't know, but yeah, it's cool that we have an Ozma dwarf. I love that. What were you going to say before, Emily? You were going to say something.
In that same scene from the trailer where it shows a fallen Gillenan with it looks like the blade, the lyrium blade, on top of her. If we are following along the lines of the tinfoil theory that the ancient elves, gods, preserve their immortality by body swapping, sort of like Mythal does, maybe the blade prevents them from body swapping when they die.
Yeah. Yeah, because the way the blade reacts in the trailer is very similar to how to the explosion that happens if you kill the archdemon in Origins. It reminded me of that. So I think there could be a a pretty solid theory, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I posted it on most recent video. No, your live yesterday is what I posted it on. I don't know, it just that one single image just brought it up that because she's not moving, no one else around is all of a sudden becoming her form. She just is still, like she's actually dead.
Yeah.
Someone says you're muted, Jack.
Thank you. I did press the unmute button. I don't know how long I was muted for, but thank you, chat. I must have pressed a button that muted me.
Sorry, Emily.
You're fine. I was done.
Okay.
It definitely is an interesting choice to put that in the trailer, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like
Like,
endgame material,
that's
in my
not the end
opinion.
of it, surely. There is not the end of Gillenon. They would not put that in the
That's
trailer.
it. That's the thing. That's like they wouldn't just go, "Yep,
No.
you've killed her," and that's why I think she's going to body swap. Well, she will body
Yeah.
swap.
I think there's a lot of weight to your dragon theory, definitely.
I would agree that they wouldn't put that in the trailer, but then there is also the scene with the Dreadwolf fighting
True.
what I think is Elgranon dragon. So
Yeah.
that looks pretty late game.
That looks literally like
So I'm not
shit
sure.
going down the fan. And like,
Yeah.
if we quickly look at Dragon Age Inquisition's first trailer, did they ever put any endgame content in that? Let's have a look.
Sorry. I need some water. Be right back.
Oh no, drink, gulp that water, girl. I don't know.
Gulp that water, girl!
I'm just amazed she read all of this unhydrated.
I know.
She's so powerful.
She is. She's too powerful. Let's have a look at Dragon Age Inquisitions. Not the Morrigan one. We want the actual one they did because we've had our cinematic trailer, which is we were late to the Morrigan one. We've had our gameplay preview, so we're gonna look at the one after. So we've done that one. A World Unveiled. We'll look at the Lead Them Off Fall trailer. I will send it to you guys as well. But we're not gonna watch it like we're gonna watch it unmuted. I just want to see if there's any endgame content in this. A little bit unmuted. We have the beautiful voice of Harry Hayden Patton as the Inquisitor, crawling out of the Fade into the Conclave. or out of the Conclave into being captured. Liliana, Amara, and Cassandra. It's a beautiful trailer. Like Sarah walking in the Exalted Plains. Can you see the Dreadwolf statue? Or has it been cut out? You can't see it. Dorian. Beautiful. You probably could presume that would have been Endgame. If you saw that for the first time, you think, that looks like it's Endgame.
I wonder how many seconds behind you we are.
I'm 46.
Oh, we're 35.
35. This is all so far, like intro stuff. Besides the areas, that's okay. That's the Temple of the File, so that's Endgame, and you can see Morrigan just casually stood there with Colin. So that's a little bit Endgame. Hello, Lisa. We're just watching the first Inquisition trailer to see how much Endgame content they put in that. If Bioware have done that before. There's the Well of Sorrows so far. Nothing tremendously spoilery, but then again, obviously it's subjective because this could look like Endgame material if you are watching this for the first time. It's like, oh, Well of Sorrows
true.
again. Dragon fight, time magic. Like, the fight with Gillinan could literally be the end of Act 1 when you get the Veilguard together and she attacks you. It literally could be the Corypheus scene, you know what I mean? We don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It could literally be Veilguard when
Your
assembled.
heart,
That's what it could be. We don't know. It but the Dreadwolf scene definitely Endgame for sure, right? For sure. Villainous Kitty said to Lisa, "Go hydrate, Queen."
Oh yeah, thanks. I did.
With that, folks, so it is going to be 10 p.m. for me in 2 minutes, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you all again for listening to us read Look in the Gardens, and thank you again, Emily, Lisa, Lucas, and DeCaster for joining me. Again, really, 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 really appreciate it. It means a lot that you all want to come in and, yeah. Voice acting
Thank you so
characters,
much for having us.
Yes, thank you for
most
having
welcome.
us.
Most any time. Chat, thank you again so much for listening to us and those who have listened to this as a VOD. Next week, back with Hunger. Again, big Grey Warden story. Really good, fun, monster huntery. And you will find out what that is all about as we get an introduction to Evka, Ivo, and Antoine, the Grey Wardens, who will... well, definitely Evka's going to be in this game. Antoine, probably. We'll find out. But yeah, thank you all again so much. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. But yeah, have a great evening, day, morning, whatever it is you are doing. But yeah, thank you again and see you all later on. Bye.